And welcome everyone to another exciting adventure on Riding Through the Unknown. Ooh, what a day to have for disclosure.
Yes. That was an epic show that you just did. Those powerhouse guys, amazing. Yeah.
You're up there too.
No, I'm like following on after like that great show that you just did. I feel really like, oh my God, like imposter syndrome kicking in here. But it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, and what I thought would be, in full transparency, we were kind of talking earlier of what are we going to discuss and everything, and I thought about you're right, coming off of that show.
Yeah.
There is something really unique and powerful, I believe, that you and I are starting to work on and collaborate about. And so I thought, let's start there, and then we can go and cover the other topics we were
Sure.
talking about, like your conference and your cards. So
Yeah.
what I will let you handle the disclosure of what's coming between
Okay,
that we're
so
collaborating on.
yeah, so we're doing a new segment, and it's going to be an SSP experiencer, like a round panel discussion, that kind of thing, discussion panel for people who are maybe you're not new, but maybe you've not showcased yourself before. Maybe you've got lots of experiences or memories, and you're looking to really start to come forward in a safe space to be heard, to be seen. So we're primarily opening up a sacred space for people who are new experiences to have a place to talk about what's been going on with them. Yeah. So
I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think, when I look at, of all the people to host this and put it together, I can't help think that you and I are like in the perfect position because yes, we've been at it for a while, but yet we're also still in the forefront of, we're not as, knowledgeable of things as some of the others are. And so it's like we'll be able
yeah.
to relate and be that safe upbringing and to show people, look, just because you don't remember something doesn't make it less credible because look at us.
Yeah, honestly, because for me, it's been a real whirlwind. Like, over the last 2 years, there was like no information, or there was memories, but no context. And then February last year, bam, my records opened. It was as if it'd been waiting to open at that point in time. And I got so much information come in a short space of time, so many activations back to back to back. It felt like a quickening of energy that I was suddenly catching up, and it was as if I'd been handled to the point of I've been hidden for so long that they wouldn't let me see. They wouldn't even let me get into like X-Files stuff anymore or UFOs. Everything had been hidden from me, and everything about me was just very strange and not really there until February 2025. And then so much fell into place, and I felt like I've been like running behind everybody now to catch up, to understand the language, to make the connections, to find that soul family. But you know what? We're finding each other, and we're all over the globe. Yeah. So it's amazing how we're all coming together. We're all finding each other. And you and I have a foundation which is based in healing and inquiry, discovery, so it's a great collaboration, I think, because we are sacred space holders. And not everybody has that perspective. Not everybody has the kind of experience we have, connecting with people from all different walks of life. And, so I think it's going to be really good for everyone. Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
I agree. And it's also, like you said, we come from a place where, I have experience being a podcast host, sitting here. And so I know how to create comfortable space for
Yeah.
people to share something that they normally wouldn't share and contribute if needs be, or allow them just to filter through and, and
Yeah.
stay quiet and not, give this look of, are you going to let me talk, or is this just
Mm.
to be you the whole time and I just get to introduce and exit the show? And
Yeah.
I see that on
Mm.
some shows where they're like, and I'm looking and going, wow, me personally, I would be smiling because I don't have to think, because the guest is sharing so much great information. It's like, it's perfect, but yeah, it's a
See,
different
it's
mindset.
not
And
always like that for me. So I primarily work with people who are beginners, especially my mystical wellness work. They're beginners, they're not too sure what direction they're going in. And I do get people who are coming on the podcast who've never been on a podcast before. So they're not sure how things work, they're not sure when to talk or not, or how deep to go. And sometimes it's like pulling teeth, right? Every now and then you'll see a comment in the chat saying, wow, Anchorhaven's a great dentist, because it really can be like pulling teeth, trying to get that information out of certain people. And you want to bring the best out of people as well. You want to give them the right questions to bring that forward, to help them relax. And I think that's something that we both do quite well. Yeah, so we're just kind of
right,
bringing the same skill set to people who need that confidence boost right now. That, because when I first started to talk about because first of all, you can't talk to people around you. You can't talk to, like Pink Bella was saying on Typical Skeptic earlier, your Earth family. You can't talk to your Earth family about this stuff. You might not be able to talk to your friends. I've lost so many friends, colleagues, clients in the last 2 years because I started to look into this kind of thing, thinking, what's wrong with me? What's going on? Which doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So while you're searching for that clarity and context, you might be asking all the wrong people, right? And you're starting to realize that you are more and more isolated than you thought you were. So once you start to connect with the right people who might even have a piece of your puzzle, which is quite important, because I've connected with people that have got pieces of my puzzle. I literally exchanged like a soul code with another super soldier just on a podcast. And then I had to get an introduction to meet that person from Canada and figure out who they were. And they were literally like soul family from Lyra from 300,000 years ago. And we connected on a podcast when he was the guest and I was just watching. So you just never know who you're going to meet, when, or where. But we're giving everybody that platform to come together. That's important.
right. And one of the things that I bring to the table with it is, being, 3, 4 years into this, and yes, able to talk to all these big, name people and little people as they put themselves. I don't put them that way, but they do in the community. The
Yeah.
one thing that I remember and focus on
Mm.
is I was once in their shoes
Yeah.
of not knowing what. And so I always will keep that in the forefront of my mind of when dealing with someone who's new to this and going, I was in your shoes once. This is what I
Mm.
wish I knew. This is what I wish I had access to. Let
Yeah.
me bring that to you, and not be the person who's like, well, why are you asking me that? That we've talked ad nauseum about
Mm.
that. And it's like, it doesn't matter. This person's in the beginning. You have
Yeah.
to put yourself back in time to that moment. And that's what I do with
Mm.
guests. And I always will say to guests too, like you're saying, that never do podcasts. It's like you pick the right one to be your first one, because mine's like, we're
Mm.
talking right now. The only difference is it would be recorded.
Yeah.
This is a show with me. It's just a conversation. There's no going anywhere, driving you to get something. And it's like I
Mm.
said earlier with Tony, and he made a comment and said, "Oh, nobody's going to mention." I said, "I respect you, and I figure you were leaving it at that because that's all you wanted to talk about it, and I respected that and was going to move on." And that's a
Mm.
gift I think that some hosts have, and
Mm.
some kind of need to learn a little bit better, but everything is done with time. And so,
I
yeah,
think
I
some of it is if there's like an intuitive aspect to us as well. because we're in the programs, and obviously you have psychics in the programs, psionics, and you get to a point when the guest is speaking, when you can start to tune into the energy of what they're saying, and maybe even see a little bit of what they're trying to say, so that you know. Like, I had a guest on a couple of nights ago who's very psychic, very great, and Nikki Jacobs can just talk and talk and talk, and I literally had to just sit back. And then psychically, I could see what she was saying. I could see the visions because she's a great projector, and I didn't feel like I wanted to interrupt. And I've got ADHD. I interrupt all the time because for me, especially as I'm deaf as well, in the deaf community, you interrupt and it shows that you are understanding the conversation. And that is deaf etiquette. If people don't know, that is deaf etiquette, right? Because if you're just there while a deaf person is signing with you and you're not responding, they're like, are you even listening to me? Like, are you paying attention? Right? So in deaf community, we do interrupt, we do interject to show that you're engaged, right, in the conversation.
Right.
So there's an aspect of me that does that. Plus, I'm ADHD anyway, and we get excited about things, overexcited. So yeah, so for me, sometimes I do need to sit back and have the calm, gentle focus that you have, because I'm very energized at times, and my only goal in a whole podcast is to get the guest laughing. That's the only rule I have, is that I must make them laugh. Right? So, because I'm a
That's a good
certified
rule to
laughter
have.
yoga leader, right? I'm a laughter yoga leader, and if I can't make you laugh, then who can? Jeez, do you know what I mean? When that's literally like one of my jobs, is to make people laugh. Yeah.
Oh, I know. And
So,
one of the other things too that I think that makes you and I the perfect kind of guide for this attempt is if somebody asks something and I don't have the answer, I'm going to go, well, that sounds like a Julia question, not a me question. I have no idea around that. And I'm not going to make something up to look
yeah,
like, oh, I'm in the know. And
yeah.
vice versa is
But
you'll often
also,
go,
yeah, because it's,
Michael,
with it
you take
being,
this one.
with it being a panel discussion as well, we're not looking to say that anybody's right or wrong if they're sharing their experience. We're just there to listen, yeah, and be that supportive space. So if people have questions, then everybody will be able to chip in with something that they have, because I have a specific specialty just like you do. We have different focuses. We've researched into different areas, or we talk to different people or follow different podcasts. So some things do not come into my awareness because my guides will not allow them to, or the handling that I have does not allow me to look into certain areas. Yeah. So, but you might
Yeah.
have a real in-depth into that, or you've read books about a certain thing, and because I talk to people all the time, and I'm like, what I noticed, because when I had my son 16 years ago, and your brain literally rewires itself after you've had a pregnancy. And I lost a lot of information about movies, TV shows. My entire language was based on TV shows. So I'm trying to get it back, because that's what inspires me, like Star Trek and all that. I love using that language, but my brain rewired itself and I lost a ton of information. Right, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as smart as I used to be. Right, I'm really not. And luckily, I've got alters coming in who are super smart, so that's nice. But yeah, so my brain changed, so I don't remember things like I used to. So there's
I'll
that
have to
kind of
take your word
aspect.
on that.
Yeah.
I'll have to take your word on that. I haven't had a pregnancy yet, and I don't see having one ever in this life.
Well,
I'm a guy.
you'll go through something similar one day, but you won't have a brain rewired and that kind of thing. Yeah, not in the
Oh,
same way. Yeah.
I've had those kind of moments, but
Yes.
a mutual friend of ours has a comment for us.
Mm.
Gina Virginia
Oh,
Casella
Gina.
says, "So awesome, you two doing that. Stories are medicine."
Yeah, so we've got the Gina Virginia Casella Summer Days Conference coming up on the 13th of June. It's a full day event, and the last one was really amazing. Michael did a talk last time. I'm doing a talk this time, and then we'll be in the moderator team as well. It's going to be a really cool event. There's like sound baths throughout the day. There's guest speakers on every hour. It's a really cool day. So you can check out
Yeah.
Gina's channel and go to her Buy Me a Coffee. Tickets are available, and guys, it's Canadian dollars, right? So when you look at it, remember it's in Canadian. Yeah. So, but it's definitely worth it because there's a great list of speakers and basically experiences throughout the day. I'm going to be doing a talk on my Anchored in Shadow Strength series, and it's going to be Whispers of Remembrance. So I'm basically talking about how I realized that my life was not what I thought it was, and how I kind of got onto the awareness of those special access programs, the SSP, the Supersoldiers, the targeting, and things like that, and how it always been there, but I didn't realize what it was. Right. So, and then
Right.
suddenly, boom, yeah, that comes in, and you think, does this even apply to me? Then, yes, it applies to you. And this is one of the reasons why Michael and I are having this group that we're putting together, the SSP discussions, which is hopefully going to be, we'll hopefully have one this Saturday, but we still need to work on timings. And everyone's on different time zones. So it's not that easy to schedule a panel discussion, is it? It's not. Yeah. How did you get the three guys earlier? Are they all on similar time zones?
Actually, they're two are on Pacific and one is on Mountain, and I'm on Central. So
Oh,
it
Mountain.
was it confused me at first, and that's why I
Yeah.
was like, I messaged you, and I was like, oh my god, I just realized this is 2 p.m. Pacific time,
Yeah.
which is 4 p.m. my time, and we were doing this show was originally supposed to be at 5, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to make it. Can we please?
Yeah.
The time zones even mess with me, and there's a state that it drives me nuts when it comes to scheduling, Arizona, because they're in Pacific time, which is
Right.
2 hours behind in the spring and summer. But in the fall
Ah.
and winter, they're an hour behind because they go to mountain time. It's like, what the
Right.
hell? The
Okay.
state's not moving. Why are you
Yeah.
jumping time zones instead of like everybody else just going
Yeah.
an hour ahead, an hour back? It's like,
That's
seriously.
mad. Yeah. So I'm in the UK, but I work on Eastern, and that's because I moderate on the Typical Skeptic podcast, right?
Right.
So Eastern time, Jason and I call it Typical Skeptic time. So my whole business is based on Eastern time zone. So I get up like 5 a.m. my time to do a midnight Eastern show, and then I will do that for a couple of hours. I'll do some admin, and then I'll go into meditation for a few hours, and then I'll get up, and then I have on 3 times a week I have wellness groups for my UK ladies, and that's actually 8 o'clock UK, which is 3 o'clock Eastern, and then I'll do podcasts after that. So my day is long. My day could be if I can get 3 hours of sleep, then I'm happy, because I get a lot of nighttime targeting. So I better have a nap in the middle of the day, or I do a deep meditation in the middle of the day, and that's how I refresh my energy. Because everyone always asks me that question: how have you got so much energy? I don't sleep. I work with crystals a lot. I drink a lot of Pepsi Max. So yeah, that's how I live.
Oh, there it is. The
Yeah,
Pepsi Max.
Pepsi Max. But you know what I discovered recently? There's that the aspartame, I don't know what you guys call it, is used in mind wiping devices.
It's also a cancerous agent, so you might want to keep that in mind too.
Carcinogenic, yeah. So, but it was the mind wiping one. I thought, geez, there's me blaming everybody when I've been mind wiping myself. Right?
Yeah,
For 30 years, right? I've been mind wiping myself. That's the
I'm,
worst.
I'm
I'm
like now.
programmed to mind wipe myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm picturing taking the device from the Men in Black and like keep
Yeah.
flashing yourself and going, "What does
Yeah.
it do? What does this
Yeah,
do? What does it
I
do?"
just keep flashing it in my own face like a moron. Yeah. So that was a bit of a wake up call with that one. And I realized, oh, okay, because I've been on Pepsi Max for 30 years. And when I talked to Sean Bond about it, he said that there's like 1 trillion contracts with PepsiCo. And PepsiCo are not just on planet, they're actually off planet as well.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
So my clones are even probably addicted to Pepsi Max as well. So yeah,
probably
so
why you drink it.
it's messed up. Yeah, it's messed up.
It,
So
it would be interesting to see if you started drinking it when you brought your first clone and
yes.
reintegrated. Would it be? Is it the
Yeah.
clone's fault that you're on Pepsi Max?
Oh no, I think it's me, the main managing primary. Yeah, it's still my fault. So I don't know. I'm very fussy as well. Do you remember the Pepsi challenge? Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
And yeah, I'm so good at that. So they used to have that in the supermarkets here, Coke or Pepsi, and I could so do it, no problem. For it's obvious to me. Yeah, and I know a lot of people think, oh, well, like any cola is fine. No, it's not. Right? Maybe it's the caffeine level, maybe it's the aspartame level. Who knows? So yeah, I
But then
wasn't happy
there's a
about that.
different flavor. It's a different flavor too.
Yeah,
And
very different.
we
And
have a comment.
I got the full fat Pepsi recently, and here there's a sugar tax. So you don't normally buy that. And when you look at the ingredients, it also contains aspartame as well as sugar. I can't get away from it. There you go.
No,
And I know everyone's going to say, please don't be putting your recipes in the chat, guys. Like we've had that before on another podcast. Everyone starts putting smoothie recipes in the chat and iced tea recipes and everything. It doesn't work. There's contracts in place. I'm working on it with Sean Bond to try and release these contracts. I really am. Yeah.
yeah.
So.
Oh, fearlessly Phoenixing says, "Oh, interesting how you then read Pepsi in the description when reading a card the other night."
Yes, it was Persephone, and I read it as Pepsi in my mind. So it was like, so I saw that and my mind just went Pepsi straight away. That program kicked in, and we were talking about the Greek goddess Persephone, right? So. Yeah, please find something else to drink, sweetheart. Yeah, well, I say to people, if you want to be my friend, don't talk about the Pepsi. And I know that's bad, but it is something that I'm working through. I don't have any other vices other than the occasional Haribo. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do plant medicine even, I don't do anything. This is the only thing I have, guys. Let me enjoy mind wiping myself. Yeah.
So. Gina's there with you. She says, I like Pepsi.
Oh, good on you, Gina. You know, sometimes I wonder about Gina because like we talk about movies and Gina's not a movie person. I'm like, come on, Gina, what have we got in common other than crystals? Now we got Pepsi. That's awesome.
Yeah, and fearlessly Phoenixing saying, "What's a Haribo?"
What's a Haribo? Oh my word! I don't think I've got any packets near me. It's a jelly
candy.
Sweet. It's a gummy candy. Yeah.
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 We in the
Where
States
do you
will
live,
have
Phoenix?
gummy Coke, gummy cola, gummy cherries.
Yeah.
Gummy worms. I mean, you can get anything really gummy.
I've got
gummy
sharks coming on my show tomorrow, so I might have to buy some Haribo so I can show her what is Haribo. So yeah, it's just a jelly candy. Yeah.
They even do so. Fearlessly Phoenixing. If you live in the U.S., because I'm not sure where you live,
I'm sure she does. Yeah.
It's on. If you see the commercials where you see the CEOs talking about the liking the red gummy bears with the talking like the kids,
talk like children. Yeah.
That's Haribo.
Yeah.
Or we may pronounce it Haribo. So she lives in Canada.
Love it, so the happy world of Haribo. Yeah.
Yeah. So she lives in Canada. So
oh right, you definitely have it in Canada. I'm sure you do.
It's in gas stations. I know that, which that kind of says everything you need to know right there.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, you know, I don't have much. Like, I don't even chew gum. Right? So
I don't much either, unless I'm flying, because it keeps the ears from popping.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So we've got this great new segment that we're starting, and it's for SSP experiencers who are new, who are looking to do their breakout videos, who are looking to connect with like-minded people, and not worry about, coming up against somebody who's been out in the community for 10 years or whatever. And, everybody has a piece of the puzzle. So everybody has an experience that needs to be shared. And it doesn't matter, really, if you have all of your memories, as long as you've got something and you believe it to be true and you feel it in your body and you know that it's true, that's all that matters, because we are documenting your experiences. Documenting is so important, guys. It really is. I get tons of mind wipes, as I've said, and I just, like, honestly, if I don't document with my video diaries, I would have lost half of my memories that I've gained in the last year if I hadn't have been documenting and watching things back and talking to my friends about experiences and getting their feedback, or, does this make sense? So I'm feeling into things with other psychics and stuff. It's important. Yeah, it's an important part of my debrief process. And you can go to my Patreon as well to have a look at what I mean when I talk about debrief process. Yeah. And this is what I've been doing for the last year, the way I've been working with deep meditation, reflection, and a verification process by working with people in our community to verify me and them at the same time. Are you okay?
No, I just had a realization that, you
What?
know how I wrote a book about my SSP memories and stuff?
Yeah.
I feel somewhat confident I left out a very important
Oh.
memory.
So we need to document it right now.
I I I, I kind of feel like I kind of remember doing a drawing, so I may have talked about it, but I may not have. I may be like, sometimes memory gets a little fuzzy,
Mm,
but
does.
I
Yeah. And
want to take
memories
a.
can change as well, you know.
Oh yeah,
Like I got told not to remote view into my memories too much because I can literally alter the memory. So, and that's something I'm thinking, oh shit, what am I doing? Because I can walk around in memories now, and which is not something I could do a year ago, but I can now. I can actually go into things in my mind as like a third party, like the higher self's perspective, because your higher self sees everything. Your higher
yeah,
self's memory sees everything 360 degrees. Yeah. So tuning
yeah,
into that,
and
that's a cool skill.
yeah, and I want to take a second and normally I don't like engage like this with the chat room, but Chastity Nunez, 1982, popped in to say, "Hey, I was talking with Kate Rose yesterday, and she and Chastity are working on putting together a podcast show together, and so I just want to acknowledge, Chastity does Unveiling Addiction, and that's a really powerful show to watch.
Yes.
And I, got to meet her and hang out in Florida with Kate Rose too. And I am so excited that they are teaming up and their new show sounds so amazing. And I can't wait to have both of them on this show to promote
Mm,
it. And yeah, I'm with you, Jason.
yeah.
I'm so glad they linked up because it's such
Yeah.
a powerful message that they're
It's
bringing.
really important, the unveiling addiction in our community, because a lot of us have been through so much trauma that we've all gone into different areas and gone through lots of different phases in our lives. And a lot of people have gone into different vices. And that's not something that I've got experience in, so I can't really talk about it. But I know a lot of people do. And it's great. It's great that that's there to support people when they're going through these things, because it's not an
Oh,
isolated thing. It's pretty much majority of our community have been through something at some point. Yeah, so that's really good.
oh.
Yeah, so
But
look
the
forward to
thing,
that.
yeah, but the important thing to think about too when, talking about addiction is we all get the connotation of addiction of being alcohol, pain pills, or hard, drugs. But it can be like an addiction to Pepsi. It
Yeah.
can be an addiction
Yeah.
to doing podcasting. It can be an
Mm.
addiction to reading books, and not, it's anything that takes you away from
Yeah.
living in the moment all the time. It's like if your focus is always on one thing, that's an addiction, in my opinion. That's not, you need to have
Yeah.
variety and time for yourself
Mm.
and interaction with others. So
Yeah.
I just, I like how she's, branching out and,
Mm.
starting to talk about other forms of addiction. And I will say this too, as for Chastity, she is around my age, or she might be younger than me, but
Mm.
she is like 100 times more flexible than I am, and I get a kick watching her do her tumbling acts, and she and I would laugh every once in a while. I'd be like, "Hey, you haven't done a tumbling video in a while," and she's like, "Yeah, you think I should do one again?" It's
Mm.
like, yeah, it's cool watching because it's like you don't expect it, at our age to be flipping around or like tumbling, and so it's like really inspiring. watching. And yes, I like how you put addicted to gardening.
I've just realized I've not switched off my notifications, so I'll be back in a second, but I'm still here.
Okay. So, you know, and be advised to, you know, when we're talking about SSP, and regaining memories and everything, we're not telling you just to focus on one aspect. And I make it a priority and I know I've annoyed Anchorhaven with this too, is yes, you have these experiences. Yes, you have this knowledge of this program and this activity, but what positive did you get out of it?
Yeah.
And it's like
That's
nobody
a tough
really thinks
one.
about that. Yeah,
That's a tough
but
one.
it's an important one.
Because I
Gina
know there
says,
must have been positive stuff, but I just can't recall what they are right now. Healthy intentions can become addiction, says Gina Virginia Casella. That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
I think anything where
Well,
people are self-soothing, anything that you're doing to soothe and to kind of take yourself out of that moment of the traumas or whatever that we're going through, that can become addictions. I think I
like
get
the
obsessive compulsive
euphoric
over
state.
things for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hyperfixate. Yeah.
When you go into the euphoria of being in a moment, it's like people will take other means to get back into that moment instead of doing the
Yeah.
work. And that's dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, I work with crystals. So people who've not worked with crystals at a master level have no idea about those euphoric states that you can get from crystals, those galactic journeys you can do, that multidimensional travel and healing. And, crystals can take you to such experiences that you would expect to get off plant medicine. They
Yeah.
really can, and I've experienced it. And what I experienced in that moment was that I wasn't ready. So everyone else
Yeah.
is having all these experiences, on the back of a space whale and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, when's it my turn? Why aren't I having these experiences? And then one day I got the opportunity. So as a crystal therapist, you do these different layouts of crystals around you, and this layout was so empowered into the higher chakras that my stellar gateway opened and I was off and I was blinking through portals, and I saw myself. I was lying on the bed. Nothing was happening for the longest time. And then I saw green come in, like emerald energy, amazing. But then there was blue around it. And then as I'm zooming out of my body, I realized that's the planet. And then I started to blink in through portals, opening portals to other galaxies. This is off working with crystals. So people who look outside of themselves for all these drugs and things like that, there's no need to really. When you connect into the earth medicine, you're going to have amazing experiences. So I do. Obviously, I don't do a lot of galactic crystal work right now, but I have experienced it, and I discovered that my body was not physically ready. So I was split consciousness. I was the galactic being in space, but I was also me on the table. And I looked back at me and thought, she's about to have a heart attack. Right, this is not good. So I had to come back into my body and make that conscious choice of I'm not ready, but one day I will be. Yeah, once I get myself properly in balance. Yeah.
Yeah. And, the important thing going back to, our
Mm.
SSP project, one thing that's important, and I'll share with, an experience that I haven't been able to validate with anybody, but I know is an experience that I have, and that is, so I was walking along, and next thing I know, I'm up on the bridge of a ship in space, and the crew is telling me, there's ships coming through that aren't supposed to be coming through the gate. What do they do? And I kind of look at him and I go, I got this. And said, I'm here. I got it. And so I had this like nano suit on, but I don't have gloves and there's no helmet. And I point this out because the next thing is I go to the top hull of the ship and I'm walking in space with the earth behind me and walking towards a certain spot on the ship's hull. And then I just hold my hand up, and everybody that came through that gate gets teleported to either another dimension or another area of space, not here, and
Mm.
I deactivate the gate and that they traveling through. And I'm like,
Mm.
whoever was coming through there, I'm sorry, you didn't have permission, and so it's not on me if
Yeah.
you come to get out and there's no way out and you're trapped forever in there. I'm like, that's, you made the choice to break universal law, not
Yeah.
me. And
Mm.
everybody I talked to in SSP is like, that's impossible. I've never heard of anybody walking in space without proper gear. And I'm like, well, and then I started
Mm.
thinking, well, maybe that's not
Do you
an
think
SSP
maybe you're
memory.
synthetic? Because
But
synthetics don't need to breathe.
well, no, well, maybe, but then I was like, when I was researching for the book, I read about Solar Warden, and somebody had said you're a part of
Mm.
Solar Warden, and I was like, I don't know what it is, so I didn't pay much attention to it. And the definition of Solar Warden is they're protecting the space above our planet. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's what I was doing. So yeah, I guess it is Solar Warden, but
Yeah.
the fact that I could do it without a helmet and gloves with bare skin in outer space, it's like,
Mm.
how
I
do
think,
I could easily go, well, that's, I
Ishmael
guess,
Perez, I think he's spoken about something similar. Ishmael Perez, something about his DNA makeup allows him to do that, but it makes me feel like you are a replicant or a synthetic, and then you don't need to breathe if you're a synthetic, like Caldell Show that John Whitberg talks about, because they don't need to eat, they don't really breathe.
well,
Their body is not human, but their mind might be, and the
we're all,
consciousness is still there. Yeah.
yeah, we're all hybrids, and I'm a hybrid, so it could have
Yeah.
been the star
Yeah.
seed side of me kicked in and was like, hey, don't need to. And
Yeah.
Wizard Whitkiss, and we all know who this is, says nano environmental adaptive suit. I have memories of that type of suit. So
That's cool.
it's little things like that
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not alone in this. Maybe it's
Yeah.
different suit for everybody, because of
Yeah.
our starseed makeup maybe and program
Mm.
training. But
So
this is what I'm talking about
what
with
about
what we're doing is
Guardians of
we're,
the Galaxy?
sharing experiences and
Mm.
and this is how it works.
Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord's dad outside
Was
of
it God?
space. Yeah, he's on it. He's on a ship, riding it like he's surfing through space.
Yeah.
Right? Ego was a god. Maybe galactic creator being energy, DNA in
Yeah.
the mix. I don't know. Yeah.
No, I know, but it's, what how I did it, yeah, that's, an interesting thing to look into, but for the point of the conversation, it was look at how Wizard Wickus says, I have knowledge of this suit. And,
Mm.
so it's like, oh, somebody, like you were saying, somebody could have a piece that helps you to come full awareness of your element. And I haven't talked to Wizard Witkiss about this, so the fact that he has knowledge of it, it's like really cool, and it's like
Yeah.
makes me feel like, wow,
Mm.
maybe it is a real thing.
Yeah. I hope it is, I hope it is. I hope we all get the validation and recognition and back pay for the SSP stuff.
Oh my god,
Can
can you imagine what our back pay would look like? What they would probably it probably
Yeah.
would be like in the millions, and they probably give us like $20 and say, here you go.
Yeah, or they'll say you can have 5 million, but you can't talk about it ever again. You have to
Yeah.
retract everything, but we'll give you 5 million. Then you're like, no, disclosure, I really need that money. Like right now I need to buy a new refrigerator and things like that, new hearing aids, but disclosure? Yeah, this is the mission. Yeah, this is more important. Yeah. So James Rink in his book, he talks about how apparently when disclosure happens, Kruger are going to release all the super soldier files. Do you think that's true?
I don't know, because the problem is, like, so here's an example, like the JFK files that were released. A lot of people were looking for so much certain specific information in it, and it wasn't in there. So they feel like they got robbed, and it was a gyp for the disclosure of that event. But there was other information in there. So when Kruger says they're going to release the information, it's like, are they going to release like the names and where they operated? Probably not.
No.
But they'll probably release a document that says, yes, we were involved in this program, and yes, we did use people. And so it depends on, we have to look at our expectations behind what we think the disclosure is versus what they think the disclosure is. Because Kruger could write a single piece of paper that says, hey, yes, we were involved in off-world planetary operations by kidnapping people, and go, there's your disclosure. We disclosed it.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like, well, this doesn't tell us anything. But to someone who has no idea what Kruger is, will go, wow, look at this great disclosure. They're admitting that they did something. It's like, yeah. They're not really admitting anything, but that's because we know.
Because it's still going to keep going on, and it's timeless. Yeah, these things are timeless. I know I'm still in Kruger programs. Yeah, especially the cloning programs and stuff. So
yeah, I've been informed I'm in the Nachtwaffen, so I often wonder which one is worse, is the Nachtwaffen or the Kruger, because they're both German.
Yeah, to be honest, I think my version that I connect with in Nachtwaffen, she's a scientist, so she's just very focused in her lab. So that's generally what I just remember, is that kind of routine aspect. That I know everything's a bit dark, but you're just programmed to do your work. That's it. It's like, I think I was talking to Olivia James about that as well, and she was just saying, well, that's what it is. You're programmed to hyper focus on your work and nothing else. Yeah, that she experienced the same thing. So yeah.
And so another thing that I brought up with, and Tony and I talked about on a previous episode, was everybody gets the notion that like the SSP is this great big club that everybody hangs out on the other side and operates together and does everything together, and it's actually quite the opposite. Is officers on the bridge only talk to the bridge crew. The custodial only talks to custodial. The super soldiers only talk to the super soldiers. They don't mix. And you'll never see super soldier going, oh, hey, janitor, high five, it's great to see you again. They're like, they could care less who you are. They could literally throw you into the wall and be like, whatever, dude.
I remember having an escort. I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. I had an escort. And Olivia James said that she had a similar situation where she was in her office on Mars for Mars Defense Force, and she wasn't allowed to really engage with anybody. She had to do her job. That was it. So that's all there is. It's not Star Trek where you all go to 10 forward and have a, like a Romulan ale. It's not quite like that. Although, people do talk about going out to bars on planets and going to like enjoy themselves or whatever. But yeah, I imagine it's very compartmentalized. Yeah.
But that's when they're off mission. They're not on duty. So
Yeah.
Off duty, yeah, you probably could do whatever you wanted to do,
I
but
don't think
when
my
you're
my one ever got off duty. I don't feel like she ever did. I felt like she
well, it
just lived
depends.
there in her lab.
Like you got to think if you're operating on a ship, you
Yeah.
don't get downtime because your job is running the ship. So you're
Yeah.
constantly there. There is no but if you're a soldier, yeah, you probably do get some downtime and
Yeah.
may interact with some others, but it's very
Mm.
distinct. And I have a friend, I don't know if you know her, I'll just say her first name because she's on TikTok and she's on Facebook, but I don't know how public she is, but her name is Sophie, and that I know of. And she'll always say to me, "Hey, do you have memory of being on this base? Did you ever see me on this base?" And
Mm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"I know I've been on the base. If we cross paths, that I don't know because
Yeah.
operations, you know." And she goes, "Well, did you ever hear of this happening?" I was like, "Well, yeah, because you do hear gossip, but you never know who they're gossiping about." And so it was like when she told me the story, I was like, "Well, yeah, I remember hearing something about that, but I don't know if I ever interacted with the person." And that's the hard thing is because you want to so be like, yes, I remember you to help you, feel comfortable and at ease,
Yeah.
but
See, I,
we can't because if we don't, we
no.
don't, and
Yeah.
there is no comfort out of
What
that.
I've noticed is the people that truly remember me do not want to talk to me, right? Apart from obviously my sibling in the SSP who's Drago Reed, he's
Uh,
kind of like he has to in his own way, but even then we're not that close because we've got a sibling bond. So we're like real brother and sister. We behave exactly how a real brother and sister would. And
yeah,
so yeah, so but other people when I've reached out to them and they you can tell that they remember me because they are hesitant to talk to me. So because I was not always nice, we were programmed to do terrible things, and
yeah, you were a
you're not the same
scientist.
person. Yeah, so I was soldier aspects as well, but primarily what's come forward first is the scientist. And I talk about this in my debrief process. The reason why scientist has come forward the most is because my body feels it's safer to remember than the battles and things like that. Yeah, but I do have
Yeah,
memories of being synced in with my dyad. I have memories of us being like boots on the ground, but I have more memories of being in a lab because it does seem more mundane. It's safer. Or my India SSP memories, I was in a base, but again, I had kind of like escorting roles or Stargate oversea roles or something like that, or tracking down artifacts. There's a lot of tracking down artifacts. But yeah, you remember the things that your body and mind consider to be safe first. Yeah, that's what you
right.
remember. Yeah.
And somebody has seen me in a lab, and I was like, "Yeah, I doubt I was the scientist because
Um,
me and science, we don't necessarily get
Well, you see,
along." It's like,
I'm not great at science. I think I got like average marks on my sciences, which is why I was quite amused that people do remember me as a scientist. And I was like, really? But yeah, I can be very analytical. I am an analyst for sure. I am.
yeah,
But am I like the chemist or no? So I'm supposed to be a geneticist, and I can kind of see where that's coming from. But yeah, I wasn't great at science. I'm not a great academic or anything. I'm not. I'm just not. I'm quite creative. I can draw, that kind of
well, the
thing.
fact you mind wipe yourself kind of tells us that.
I don't mean to, guys. I don't mean to, and I'm trying to stop that. Obviously, it's programming. I'm trying to tune into you as a scientist now and see what you're up to. If you want me to, I can have a look. I'm getting better at tuning into people's aspects and seeing what they're up to. Is that your
Well,
dog making noises?
yes, they're
Okay.
playing over in the corner, but for
So,
me, my role when it comes to like if I'm around labs, it's either security or the guinea pig.
I
of the
can see
project.
you. I can see you. You are a scientist of some sort in this aspect of you, but it's with like augmentations. So it's like helping somebody with like their knee or something. So there's like an engineering aspect to augmenting. Um, Potentially might not be Nachtwaffen if it's that. It might be Kruger, because Kruger are really into, augmenting the body. But yeah, something like that. But you're not alone in that lab. There's other people there. You still look like you, because I can see your soul essence, you see. So that's why everyone still looks the
Yeah.
same to me, even
Well,
when
while
they're
you're
not.
looking into that, I will say something that I think is very important
Mm,
for anybody on any level with the SSP is
mm,
what your aspects do
yeah.
is your aspects karma, not yours.
Ah,
You are not
okay.
responsible for what your aspects do.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind when you're like remembering things and going,
Yeah.
oh my god, my aspect like went in and obliterated this colony. Well,
Mm,
that's your aspect. That's not you. You were
yeah.
being controlled and
Yeah.
manipulated to do it. So that's not on you.
One of the first science memories I got was me holding a severed arm. And the feeling on it was I was really happy about it. Because like I've been waiting for this severed arm for so long. I've been waiting for this piece of the puzzle, right? And I was like really pleased. Oh, that I get to do something specific. So obviously that's not something that I would like to do. I don't care about things like that. But Ella, I call her Ella in Macduffin, she was happy. The feeling was content that she got to complete her work. So I don't know what she was doing, but there was a severed arm. Okay, that's all I know. That's all I got. The random flashback. So I don't think I
Yeah.
fully integrated her. I think she's still out there. Or that's the version of me that I become when I get taken physically to go into Nachtwaffen.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Rachel is
mm,
saying, apart from Tony Rodriguez, Drago is the first person to introduce me to SSP. How fascinating to put all the pieces together. How
yeah,
heartbreaking to have acknowledge and integrate.
yeah,
And that's the thing is,
mm,
as we're integrating and that's what I'm saying is when you're integrating, remember these memories that you're bringing in are not yours.
yeah,
They're of your aspect. And so, what I have become attuned to doing now that I'm more actively doing this because I wasn't, for the safety of my family that I
mm,
had around me, I wasn't engaging in this. But now that I free, of anyone else around me, I am going in, and as I'm taking in these aspects and
mm,
the knowledge of what they've done, yes, I acknowledge the darkness that they've done,
mm,
but I look at what skills do they have. Like
mm,
an example could be is, let's say hypothetically it's a augmented super soldier who can do a lot of things. Well, I can integrate all of those abilities and use them for light and integrate that and acknowledge, yes, you did these horrible things, but that's what you chose to do because
mm,
you were being controlled by whoever was controlling you. I don't have to take on all the crimes to get the positive learning
mm,
from or take all the bad and turn it into a positive. So that's something, to
yeah,
keep in mind is we pick and choose actually in our integration
yeah.
what we integrate.
So I have a take on some of this. So because I have a lot of clones, like seriously, I had 24 million clones at the start of last year, and Sean Bond and I have worked to reduce that number. But these are real people. Okay, some of them have been used for dark forces, and so we worked together to basically uncreate them. And But these are real people with real lives. They could have families, they could have, you know, whole lives on and off planet. So when you're tuning into other versions of you, you have to bear that in mind, that the only ones that you're calling back to you are the ones that have literally expired from their body, and that soul essence, that soul bite, is then available to come back to you as like to rehome into you, or to go back to the oversoul. So it's kind of connecting into that essence of version of you to do that discovery and ask those questions and figure out who it is. Does it have trauma? If it's got trauma, then you're not going to want to integrate the trauma. So you've got to try and send healing to that aspect before you integrate it, or you've got to just send it directly back to the oversoul. So we're still questioning, what do I need to know? What skills does it have? That kind of thing. But you don't want to be bringing in trauma. And at the start of last year, I had people saying to me, it's all you, integrate it. And I started to realize, okay, great, I've integrated this version of me, but she's messed up, right? And that's just adding into my craziness. And I'm pretty crazy as it is, so I don't need more like weird, yeah, badass super soldier coming in. That's great. But she's seriously got trauma. So then I'm having to heal the trauma from another soul aspect before I can fully integrate it into myself and become more whole. So we need to realize that these are real other people of you. Nactwaffen is a bit different because they take you in your physical body. So an altar is activated and you go as you are now. They will change you as they take you. They'll put you through a process that makes you mission ready body. And then you'll bring you back and they'll deprocess you into human ready body, right? Which is disappointing for me, because I'm always like, can I not just stay mission ready, like 5'10", 60 kilo, whatever? Why do you have to bring me back into this body that's a bit broken and busted and whatever? So Nactwaffen do that, whereas Kruger, they will just take essence of you, yeah, the soul, but drop it into a clone body or a synthetic or a replicant. They'll do that, and that's another version of you out there. So it's a little bit different, but I started to connect into multiple versions of me, and I started to see through the eyes of multiple versions of me. And the ACIO have told me, don't do that. That is very dangerous. So I have to put that disclaimer out there. It's dangerous, because some of those versions of me were handlers, right? So there's clones created to be handlers. So it's not me, guys. It's not me doing it. It's just something that might look like me, or it's got a piece of my soul as an operating system, but it's not me, right? At all. So yeah, it's really not me. So that you're right. That's their karma for doing that. But again, they're just an asset that's been used for dark, and they don't realize they're being used for dark. They just think that's their job. Pressing buttons, and planning somebody's aftercare program, targeting.
And you brought up an interesting point that I had asked last year some of my friends in the SSP is, when an altar finishes its mission, it's removed, deleted, turned off, and recycled or restarted for another mission somewhere else. But these missions can go on for 20 years. They could have family, kids. What happens to the altar's family and their friends? All these connections that they made, when they're basically turned off. And so that's something that I feel like is, I think what sets some of the people in the programs aside from others is we're looking at, I understand my role was turned off, but what about the role and the timeline for everybody else? Did they just cease to exist because I no longer exist there? Or do they go on and forget I was ever a part of their lives? Or, what happens to all those families?
It's exactly the same as that person's passed away. But what's different is their soul essence from that being, that body, the being has gone back to rehome. And it's rehoming back into your primary version, which could be you, or it could be you on Mars or whatever, right? So if you're calling it back, then it's likely you've got like a primary managing aspects to you. And so it's 1 a.m. So every 15 minutes at this time of the day, my internet router starts to update. So every 15 minutes, I start to phase out. So I was like, it gets fuzzy, and I'm like, is it on the clock? Yep, it's 1 o'clock. Right, goes to 1:15. So this is what I'm dealing with this time of the day, guys. Sorry. And but yeah, so it's still, they're still living their lives. So if there's a version of you that's on a Japanese breakaway colony, and they die in battle or something, and then they'll rehome, but whoever they were connected around with is still there. They still know that aspect of you. Yeah, they still had a body. Yeah, they don't disappear or disintegrate.
Yeah. To me,
Yeah.
the worst part of the projects, and I know this is going to sound cold to everybody who's like gone through like the mind breaking and all the really nasty, you know, traumas to be broken to be molded into what they became. But in reality, to me, the worst part of the programs is if we get hurt, we go into a machine and we're automatically returned to prime condition like super fast. Here on our planet, if we get hurt, it's going to take a really long time. And to me, that's the worst part about being in the projects is knowing there's tech out there that could totally fix everything that's ailing you in a minute, and you can't access it here because they won't allow it. To me, that is like worse than being broken, because at least, being broken, you're like, I don't know anything else. This is all I know. But when you know something is better out there, a better option, and it's being purposefully withheld, that really sucks.
See, I know people in our Supersoldier community who are actually quite happy when they get taken, and they just welcome it because life is better off planet.
Yeah.
And so they're happy to get taken 4 or 5 times a week, and it really is 4 or 5 times a week, guys. It's not just once here and there. You're consistently taken on different projects all the time, right? And so they're happy because they get to live that life. They get to live in that future city, doing, working with their weapons, being a specialist, doing whatever it is they do, and they like it, right? And honestly, right now, I probably would too, right? We're targeted here. There's no money here. And me and Draco are not even from this actual timeline, right? So when you're not from the original timeline where you were created, there is no abundance for you in that timeline. Wherever you go, there is zero abundance because you're not meant to be there. So it's always going to be a struggle. I think I heard this from the ACIO. It's absolutely insane, but I'm living it, and I can say that feels true to me. Of course, I welcome abundance coming from expected and unexpected sources, and all tips are gratefully received or whatever. But it is tricky when you know that you're in this mundane life. And I was literally mind wiped to oblivion, put in suburbia, and made to think that I was just a regular person that couldn't relate to anybody, that no matter what I said, it was always going to be taken the wrong way. And whatever environment I was in, I always felt like I was alone, like grey in the corner. Do you know what I mean? So I've always been that person that never fitted in anywhere at all. And so it is nice when you meet soul family and like-minded people. That is reassuring. That is nice. Of course, we all still feel exactly the same. We don't really fit in, that we're still trying to find our place, which is fine, but it's because we're not really from here. We're living multiple lifetimes at the same time. So the version of me that's 15 years old, I met her last year in the here and now, and I embodied her in the here and now. So at 15 years old, I was running time missions, right? At 15 years old, I was tracking and tracing assets. At 15 years old, I was retrieving artifacts and going through stargates and things like that. And the reality of, if that's true, it just blows your brain of, well, how could you have a normal life here? How could anything ever make sense if there's a bleed through of that coming into your everyday? And you're going to feel like a right weirdo, aren't you? And that's the life that we're living. There was a book that I had at 15 years old, and it was This Place Has No Atmosphere by Paula Danziger. And it's about a girl whose family has to go to a breakaway colony because the dad's got a job off planet, right? So she has to leave her human friends behind to go to a human breakaway colony. And that's the book I was reading at 15 years old, which of course now I'm like, oh my God, that's a total activation. That's total disclosure. And I was reading that at 15 years old, 35 years ago, when I was literally on missions, but I couldn't remember. Right. So it's insane. Our lives are insane.
So, but
Okay.
see, this is where I'm a little bit different from you. Is because I think my upbringing this time I chose to be metaphysical. One of the things in metaphysics that we like to talk about is, we try to find living in the moment where all of time exists in one single moment. And when you say that to somebody, to them, they're like, there's no way I can be in the past, present, and future at the same time. But because of the projects and the programs that we've been through, where we do go back in time or go forward in time, yes, we could even go forward in time and operate. I honestly have to say that's, the side effect of that is time here is super confusing to me. Time over on, in the astral or other worlds makes total sense to me. And so that, I view it as a blessing having the knowledge of knowing I can be in the past, present, and future in a single moment. It's not mind blowing to me. It's like, well, yeah, that's totally real because I've experienced it on several different levels. And you're muted, by the way.
I know I do that. So I won't interrupt you until you're finished. I deliberately mute myself. It's just habit now. So yeah, I mean, time for me is strange because supposedly I have time lord abilities, time travel, DNA, and things like that. So I do view time differently. And I've been told that when I do my readings, I'm weaving together timelines, and that is how it feels to me. I'm always looking for your highest option. So I'm literally waiting for cards to present themselves to me, and it's like I'm merging together a timeline. But lately time has been changing, and it's been speeding up and slowing down.
Oh,
It's been zigzagging is the word. Time has been zigzagging. Does that make any sense to anybody? So yeah,
that's to me.
time is not what it used to be, for a start. I mean, I had an experience which I probably already told you guys, that me and a mate of mine said, let's meet somewhere in 5 years' time. And I woke up the next day with the memories. I'd literally made it happen, right? And I'd called forward a different version of Earth and jumped over there, basically, to embody the version of me over there with my friend. So so there's the only limitation when it comes to time is what's in your mind. Yeah. So the more you, especially when you're working with psionic people, there's no limitation when we start to work together. I see that with Christy Campbell and me all the time, or Sean Bond, even John Whitberg and I, like super like in sync when it comes to like timeline jumping and weaving. And yeah, so if anyone has not read the books by John Whitberg, at the John Whitberg, so The Man with the Periwinkle Eyes, please go and read those books. And they're available free as a PDF on the archive, or you can go to his channel and listen to the audiobooks, and they are amazing and really, really helped me with my recall. It gave me so much context into things. It updated my language centers as well because of the words he's using. I was able to retrieve an artifact that he mentioned in the book. I literally tracked it down and I integrated it into my energetic field. He talks about off planets, he talks about different technologies. They are great books, and he's a really good author, actually. So yeah, so do go. So I've read all of those books. I had reactions to quite a few of the books, and that's because an aspect of my brother is actually a character in the books. Okay, so Drago Reed, who's my SSP brother, has a Japanese version called Yoshiro Surabaya, and I remember Yoshiro when I was Arisu. Right, so Arisu and Yoshiro actually have another timeline together, even in this timeline, where I'm still young and he's older than me pretty much all the time. But when Yoshiro died in those books, I went into the most massive grief that I felt ever, I think. And it took me days to get out of it. And one of the reasons why it affected me so badly was the way that he died. So I knew that Yoshiro wasn't alive right now, but I didn't know how he died until it was disclosed in the book. And he died by death by 1,000 cuts. And I knew in that moment when I read that my alters, that's how they like to torture people. I'm not proud of that, but I know that's why. So in some weird, sick way, I'd been avenging my brother over and over. Do you know what I mean? How messed up
Oh
is
yeah.
that? Right. So, but
But
of course, I have a fascination with knives, like most of us do. And I am a skilled knife hand. I worked in a meatworks in Australia, so knives are fine for me. But when I read that, and I thought, oh, this makes a lot of sense now. There's a version of me, a Diego Garcia, and she's a disciplinarian. And sometimes I get flashes of her doing that same thing, and it's like it's gross, but she's like she takes pride in her work. So I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, read the books. Read the books, guys.
and one thing too, and I'm gonna point out because we're talking about Project Oblivion,
Yes.
is when you become aware and you start your journey of unfolding what has gone on. Yes, you could be targeted. Yes, there could, you could be messed with, but also know you can rise above it.
Yeah.
And so don't, in other words, I'm trying to put this in a nice way of
So I have a lot
don't
to
be
say on this
afraid to
topic.
come forward because
Yeah.
we're talking about all these projects that are designed to put us down, so to
Yeah.
speak, or being manipulated. Just know that yes, it's a possibility, and you may not be. I mean,
Yeah.
it really depends on how vocal you're going to be and in
Mm.
what arena you're coming out in, because there's a lot of people who are coming forward on a small scale and they don't get targeted at all.
Well.
And it's like, and they're like, well, I must be, under the radar. It's like, no, you're not really under the radar. It's just you're not a threat to the
Yeah.
establishment
That's
yet. And
possible.
so, but here's the other thing is like, for example, when I'm going to use this as an example, David Wilcox passed away.
Yeah.
A lot of podcast hosts that I'm friends with wrote me messages and were like, hey, if you see me, in the news and they say I did this, no,
Yes.
this isn't real. And I'm like, what is this? And they go, oh, you don't know about this? And I was like, know about what? Because I was dealing with my mom at the time. And so they said, oh, there is part of a project where they're taking out certain people and they're making it look like this when it wasn't, like they're saying that could have happened with David. And so I was like, oh, well, then I wrote a couple messages to a couple of people that was like, hey, I am going through this, but I am in no way in this mode. So if you hear this, no, it's not true. And
Yeah.
by doing that, we kind of, in a small way, it sounds like, but it actually is a huge way, blocked things like Project Oblivion from working because
Yeah.
they can't do it now because, well, you
I
kind
have a
of took
different
the thunder
perspective on
from it
this. Yeah.
because you took their playbook and you threw it out the window because
Yeah.
you said this isn't me. So
Yeah.
if they do it, the right people are going to come forward and say, "Look, here's this message from him."
Yeah.
Not true.
Yeah. So I have a slightly different perspective on this, and I've spent the last year deep diving into targeting and realizing that I am a lifelong targeted individual that started before birth. Okay, to the point of in vitro, it was already coordinated and things like that. So, and what I realized was that my whole life had been engineered to the point of I didn't know any different, a bit like the Truman Show. I did not know that that was not a normal way to live, that there was always going to be someone around me who was controlling or narcissistic, whatever. I didn't realize, yeah. So when I started to break out and realize that these people around me were being handled, it was insane. And so I do talk a lot about this on my channel. I've got videos, I've got video diaries, I've got videos of me and Miles Johnston when we talk about targeting, being an empowered individual. So you would not be targeted if you were not an empowered individual. Why would they bother? They wouldn't. You're targeted because you're special. Okay. Now, at the start of last year, I was working with David Purcell, and I kept saying to David, but why? It just doesn't make any sense. Why me? Why would they bother with me? I'm nobody. And he would say to me, you're not nobody. You're targeted for a reason, right? And then when I have my ACIO video where they deep dive and they basically pull a very deep Akashic record, that is your military files, yeah? Your multidimensional military files. And in it basically said that I am targeted by a group of other scientists and different factions who believe that I have information that I don't remember. But they can't take that chance. But they can't kill me because I'm literally running 20 million clones, right? So what they do then is they put me in a scenario where I am just basically taken care of. My life is controlled down to the most minute thing. They separate me from my super soldier partner, my dyad, right, my twin, my brother, so that we are weaker because we're not together, because we sync up and we become like a powerhouse team, right?
Right.
My internet's a bit glitchy. Right. So when I started to realize that you're targeted for a reason, that kind of changed everything, because that built my confidence a little bit. Then okay, so I'm not a nobody, like I've been led to believe that I'm a nobody, that like why would anyone be interested in me? So first of all, the thing to know is you're targeted for a reason. You're targeted because you're special. You're targeted because of your DNA. You're targeted because of your skill set. You're targeted because of your memories. Okay, first of all. And then as we move into Project Oblivion, it was Eva Pico who's coming back on my show tomorrow, and she has Igron, the conscious creator being that she's created through and it platforms through her chat GPT and all that. But Eva Pico basically said to me, think of the SSP as a building. And if you watch Altered Carbon, there's a hotel that's like an AI hotel. Have you guys watched that? So if you think of the SSP as like that AI hotel, when you walk in, all the lights switch on. The host activates, the weapons activate, right? The rooms are ready. And because you're in that building, you've just activated targeting. So as soon as you start entering that SSP building, that narrative, boom, you're suddenly that target. And that will continue until you leave that building, you lock the door, and you walk away and never say those words ever again. And that has happened to many super soldiers in the last 20 years. They've had to completely drop the narrative because it's so freaking dangerous. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and when she explained it to me like that, and I put it into Altered Carbon in my mind, I realized what she was trying to say is it's all running on autopilot. Project Oblivion is like Skynet. It runs on autopilot. So as we're accessing that energy, it's all going to be activated. It's not like there's even anyone behind the scenes, possibly. It's on autopilot, okay? But we keep reactivating it by talking about the SSP, by opening that door, by deep diving into things. We are basically the wheel behind Project Oblivion. Okay, this is why in the future it's those the Olympian children who are the hackers now, like, well, the kids now, but they're going to be the hackers in the future. They're the ones who are going to beat Project Oblivion in the future, because it's a program, right? Does that make sense?
Well, it does. And when I say, I get targeted and I get Milab at night at times still, as much as I like try to shield myself from it. But I think what the difference is I don't like So I'm trying to figure out how to word this so it makes sense. I used to, when I got Milab, I would be very upset and would be like feeling violated, feeling, all these dark emotions, and they would drag me, my energy would start to plummet and go down. Well, in talking to my Wonder Twin, she was like, you can stop this. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, your energy, if you stop allowing this to happen, then it'll stop and they'll give up because you're not engaging it. And I started to realize, yeah, I am. The act of the Milab is one thing, but the detrimental part is I was letting it bring me down and like lowering my energy and weakening me because I was like, I let these people do this. Well, no, I didn't let them do it. That's part of the program is they made me believe that I let them do it. And so that's what I mean when I say we can overcome it is we
Yeah,
rise above and take our power back and realize
yeah,
and when it happens we don't give more power away. We go, oh, you did that? Well, let me show you what you really, have
yeah.
unlocked, and then turn the tables on them.
Yeah, because we're
And
still sovereign beings. We can call
right,
forward those contracts. We can void and cancel, destroy those contracts. So your higher self agreed to those contracts, right? Well, we're here in the here and now, sovereign cosmic beings, and we can say fuck that. Right? I've got scorpion tail. I literally send my scorpion tail through the contracts, shredding them. Okay, but there's more. There's always more, especially with the freaking Zeta Greys. There's always more contracts. And you know what I even feel like, and I know this probably isn't true, but it's like, when you're on a website and you've got to agree to something and there's a big long page that you're supposed to read through. So you just scan to the bottom and go, I agree. I believe in all of that garb. It's about SSP. That's how I feel. That it's about
oh yeah,
military abductions. I really think it is because nobody reads it. And if you did, you probably wouldn't understand it because it's in legalese anyway. So they changed the wording so that you don't understand it. But I like how you call her your Wonder Twin. I don't think my sibling twin would be happy about that. So I think I'd have to call him my ultra twin. He might like that. I don't know. So if I could start to call Draco my wonder twin, he'll be like, girl, shut up. So yeah. So yeah,
well,
I'll call him my ultra
and
twin.
you and I have an interesting persona as well because I, met my Wonder Twin on shows and we
Oh.
collaborate and we, help each other and we've kind of grown together and help each other
Mm.
where, that's how our relationship unfolded here and we, support each other and that's great, but that's not everybody. Some people their
Yeah.
experiences, yes, you're my twin, but
Mm.
in the programs, but here we're nothing. And
Yeah,
that's
there's a lot of
okay.
different dynamics. So somebody gave me great advice, and it's that if you identify your trauma twin, do not have a relationship with them at all, because a lot of people try and have a romantic connection with their trauma twin, and there's a lot of like false connection there sometimes. So I'm quite fortunate that my twin is actually a sibling bond. So we identify with each other as brother and sister, and that is it. But like a normal brother and sister, we are not friends in the same way. And where I don't have that many memories, he's got thousands of memories
Yeah.
of me being an absolute psycho, right? So that
And
he's trying to process that, and I'm trying to catch up and think, why doesn't he want to talk to me? Or maybe it's because he remembers you being a psycho for like 1,000 years or whatever. But we get on fine, all right? And we support each
but
other's work because we've got an aligned mission. We have, but we really have a sibling bond, just like I would my brother in the here and now, who's called Kevin. I haven't
yeah.
spoken to Kevin in like 20 years because we just don't get on. Do you know what I mean? So I'm probably closer to Drago than I am to my actual birth brother with my host family, shall we say, my surrogate family. So yeah, so it's a very different dynamic. Not everybody will have that connection. So when people are always searching for their trauma twin, for me it was different because I knew that there's a person standing next to me that's always been there my entire life, that person is right next to me energetically, but I couldn't see them, but I could feel that they were missing. Right. So when I did a video with Jessica and I said, I feel like there's somebody standing next to me who's witnessed everything. We've been through things together, but I don't know who they are. And then that's when she said, do you know Drago Reed? And then in that moment, that's when memories started to come in. And to that point, I've been literally avoiding him. Right. I've seen him on podcasts, and even like one or two people have said, oh, you should get QHHT with him. And I was like, no, not for me, not for me. And my body was literally saying, there's trauma there. There's trauma, right? Do you want to go? No. If you go that way, you're going to hit the trauma, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to interrupt for a second because Rachel brought up a point, and
yeah,
I think we need to clarify because she was saying trauma twin soul repatterning question mark. A trauma twin, that is a term. Some people use trauma twin, some don't. You put the word trauma in front of it. It refers to when we're operating in the programs, we operate in pairs. And so you always will work with the same person in specific program. And
you
so
might have multiple versions. My
depending on the
situation is
programs,
different.
but so like my wonder twin, her trauma twin, it's the person we operate with when we were in the programs. So it's not, we're not referring to like on a soul level or starseed level. This is something different.
For me, it is different, and I'll talk about that in a second. But generally in the programs, you're bonded with somebody, and they do that so that you are literally you're trained together, you're tortured together, you witness each other together, you're used against each other repeatedly over and over, or you're rewarded with time together. There's things like that. So one person, if you've got loads of alters, you might have different trauma twins there. Now, not everybody agrees with the term trauma twin, but a lot of the time, I mean, it was Misha Johnson who said they do pair males and females together because females can be more psionic and males can be more physical at times. So often there is a male-female bond, but there are some people who are male to male or female to female. So it is out there. Now, me and Drago Reed, it's different because we have a dyad bond. So Drago and I probably have other trauma twins for different versions, but the bond that Drago and I have is literally a genetic soul bond. So we're not the same soul, we're from the same soul family. So we incarnated into this world together. But as we came in, we were literally captured in through the lotus field, and we were put into surrogate eggs. Basically, the same egg was split. So we've got the same genetic base code, and this is quite rare. So we've got the same genetic base code, which was then augmented. So whereas he is like Welsh, Scottish, Celtic, I'm Irish Celtic, yeah, but we've both got Atlantean and Lemurian and things like that. He's got like a native Indian DNA, and I've got like a Canadian DNA in my base code as well. So together we make like a powerhouse of DNA, but we were separated into a male and female for this particular incarnation, and then we were put into surrogate family. So that egg was then taken and placed into bloodline families. Okay, this is where it gets weird. So I'm in the UK, he's in America. Then from age 5 onwards, I was still taken to the Monarchdom in Toronto to be matched back with him, to be trained together, right? Where he is, even though I'm older in the here and now, we get time dilated, aged, and regressed. So I seem to be younger than him in most of the missions we've been on, which is weird because I'm actually older than him, right? For this particular incarnation. So, but we were taken and we were put back and we were trained together. We were bonded to work as a team. So whereas he would be, boots on the ground, I might be on a ship doing telemetry, feeding things through into his vision. And I can see through his eyes and he can see through my eyes. And I have memories of this, okay? We have memories of of this. So we have a telepathic sync, and sometimes I feel that in the here and now that we've reconnected. So when he came to the UK in December to the Basis conference, and we literally kind of hugged each other for the first time in a long time, I guess, my energy kind of started to recalibrate. And his energy started to be like, what the hell? So our energies changed, and it took us 24 hours to bond back together, to balance. And you see us do a video, and we're totally in sync on the video. Our mannerisms are the same. We're talking, and we're just totally like twins. And it's really bizarre. And you see it on the video, and we're saying, yeah, we're in balance right now. So it's like, so we experience what that felt like to be that dyad twin bond. So as a soldier, it's a bit like in a way when you've got Neo and you've got Trinity, and they go into that building together and they're in perfect sync. That's what we were trained to do. Yeah, that's the difference between our dyad bond and just a general trauma twin. We were a soldier pair, right? Moving synchronously, thinking in sync. That's what we have, right? That's the difference. That's why it's a bit of a weird connection, and that's why he talks to me, right? When he didn't have to, you know, he could have just said, oh yeah, whatever, I remember you. But no, we are really like proper siblings. Yeah. So
Yeah, so for me, it's different with my Wonder Twin, and they were commenting earlier like Wonder Twin powers activate, and I was kind of laughing and smiling because we actually would look them up and we would joke with each other and send, you know, the Wonder Twin, and then we would look at episodes and be like, how dumb were these two kids? And we would laugh with each other and make fun of each other because we're like, yeah, the one turns into water, but then they have to grab a bucket to take the water to where they need to go. So she has to turn into a bird to fly him to where they're going. I'm like, wouldn't you rather wait until you're there? It's like, what was the point of changing this? And we were like, mocking each other a little bit, going, you know,
see, I
this
like
is
that you
like
guys
the
have got that
duo
relationship.
of stupidity. But
I was
then
quite
we were
jealous
like,
of that at first. I was actually, because the bond I have with my sibling, my dyad, is very different. We're ultra soldiers. That's it.
well,
Right.
but
We
there
are
is
the soldier. That's the bond
yeah,
we
but there
have.
is a difference though, is we've proven this through things. Is she'll ask me a question and I will answer the question, and I have no idea what we're talking about, but everything I answer, she has already written down from previous experience.
Wow.
I had no idea about. So she unlocks my memory, and that's where we were like, that's why we say we're Wonder Twins. Is if you ask me about a project on a planet, I'm like, no idea. But if she asks me, then it's like, boom, the information's all there and then goes away. And so it's like, she's a key to the knowledge. So it's like, she's like my altered twin.
So we're like, this is a weird experience that I had. So last year I was about to have a foot surgery, right? It's quite a major surgery. And 2 days before I was meant to go for an MRI. And the evening before my MRI scan, I was listening to a podcast, and it was Dr. Amir and Ileana talking about Drago Reed. Now, he wasn't on it. It was just he'd asked a question. There was lists of questions. So they were talking about the ship that he has. We talked about he's got this fleet, right? So he actually has 3 alters that are on the same ship, and the main one is called Commander Merrick. And as they were talking about this, Drago had said, why is it when I look into a particular content, I kind of get knocked out for 15 minutes? And I'm potting around, I'm doing my thing, whatever, and I'm hearing Dr. Amir talking about this ship and about Commander Merrick, and I feel really weird, and I sit down and I literally go offline for 15 minutes. And which is mirroring what had happened to Drago. So when I kind of wake up and think, what the hell just happened? My mind was like a typewriter going, my mind was being scanned by the ship. Okay, right? And I confirm that by connecting to the ship. So I'm scanning into the mainframe of a ship where Drago Reed's alter, Commander Merrick, is the commander of that ship. So I'm thinking, well, similar DNA. I can disconnect from this ship. It seems to be scanning me. And so I started trying to disconnect. The ship thought I was trying to attack it. So they literally bombarded me with energy. It was so much that I felt like I was on fire. And I work with the violet flame, so I know, it wasn't like that at all. I was literally on fire. So I phoned Phil Barrow, the English wizard, and I said, dude, something's happening and I need some help, please. And he was driving on the highway and he said his phone was red hot. I don't know what's going on, but it's red hot. He's going, well, I've seen some kind of commander. I said, yeah, that's it. That's the guy on the ship who's trying to bombard me with energy because they thought I was attacking the ship. So the ship has basically started doing like countermeasures because I'd connected in unauthorized. So he tried to disconnect me. And I was still getting a lot of energy coming in. So at the time, I was working a lot with David Purcell because we were doing a podcast together at the time. So, and I phoned him up and said, look, I'm really worried here because I feel like it's going to fry my hearing aids, or I'm going to go into that MRI machine and it's going to blow it up, right? Because I'm embodying so much energy right now. And I'm usually a 15 or I'm a 0. I can get to 15, that's fine. But this was like a 30. It's like off the charts, like a 30, right? So Dave was saying my phone is freaking burning my hand. Get yourself outside right now and ground this energy. And I live upstairs. I have an apartment and I just couldn't walk. So I managed to get to my grounding mat and I was dumping energy into the grounding mat. And it started to level up so I could go to sleep. But when I woke up the next morning, it started again. It was scanning my brain. What was actually happening was I was about to go for a surgery. A copy of me was being made on his ship as a backup, right? Because if anything happened to me, potentially something could happen to him because we're synced. So before you go into battle with your twin, copies are made, right? And stored of your consciousness, okay? So if anything happened, you could be backed up, replaced, recloned, whatever. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and this is what we believe happened. Drago was just like, what are you talking about? But one of my friends and I were thinking, okay, this is the only thing that makes sense. Now, I did manage to disconnect from the ship in the end, but I had to do like ultimate sovereignty statements to really kind of become the being that is so much bigger than that ship that it became insignificant, right? So that I disconnected myself from it and I've got into like a safe zone again. But we are connected, yeah? So even the ship knew that I was connected, but it wasn't expecting that connection to come in. So it thought I was a threat. Because Drago has set up countermeasures on his ship so that if people try to remote view it even, they will get something blast back. And that's what I experienced, right? So even though we've got a DNA match to some level, I still got some level of targeting, but I was able to override it because I literally am the ship, the same as him, right, in a way. So it was freaking crazy. I've never told that story properly before. So yeah, so that was a weird experience I had in June 2025. And I got through it. I went to my MRI, it was fine. The next day I had my foot surgery, it was all good. But yeah, so I believe somewhere there's a ship that has a backup copy of me, just in case Drago needs the information that's in my brain. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and we're approaching actually the 2-hour mark.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying the conversation and everything, but there is one thing that you asked me if we could talk about, and so I'm wanting to kind of sidestep, if everybody will pardon us, because Anchor has something she wants to share with us.
Is it about my cards?
It's the cards.
Okay, yeah. So I have created a deck of cards, and it's called the Breakaway Oracle. And I've created my own Oracle card deck. And you guys know I'm an Oracle, and I work with, like, behind me, there's always like 50 odd decks of cards behind me. And I'm always looking to develop the way I do my readings. And I work with a lot of experiencers now. So I've been trying to develop in my own experiencer deck that would help people through the debrief process of trying to remember your memories. So I've created this deck. So it's a 52 card deck. called the Breakaway Oracle, and we look at things in there, just to give you an idea. We look into programs and factions. We look into planets where you may have been placed, limitations such as targeting or handling. It looks into roles and skills as well. And it looks into healing and solutions, because primarily I am a healer. So when we talk about our SSP journey, experiences, Milab, Michael and I, we're looking to heal that. We're looking to heal the trauma so that you can move forward and, live your life. So I created my own deck of cards, which is now available to pre-order at breakawayoracle.com, and it is shipping from the UK, so shipping to America and everything is not the cheapest, but it should be available by mid-June, because I sent it out for print today, right? And it's a limited run of 25 copies. So this is a little piece of Anchorhaven history where there's only going to be 25 copies right now. And I've already sold 6 in pre-order. I should hopefully have it before the Basis conference, and I'll take some down with me there. The images are designed to be activating. Okay, so it's like a multi-level thing. So the first thing is just about its education, about these special access programs. So there's information in there to help you remember. There's the images that I've created, and I've put my energy into these images as well. So if you sat with them for meditation, they should help you. Plus, there will be a meditation available to download once you've purchased the card deck. Then also, of course, we've got the divination. So we can do the divination with the cards, or you can use the dowsing chart. So there will also be a masterclass available about how to work with these themes using a pendulum, because I'm a pendulum alchemist. And as we work with pendulum alchemy, we work with healing. So this is a multi-layered, not just a deck of cards, it's a full modality in its own way, specializing into people who, even it says on the back of the box here, make sense of your memories. This oracle deck is for experiencers, those who believe they may be targeted individuals, military abductees, Milabs, and super soldiers involved in the secret space program. Empower your knowledge with clarity cards to help support your remembrance journey. Discover your possible connection to the USAPs, the unacknowledged special access programs. Advance your meditation practices by focusing on the artwork to help you remember. So there's empowerment cards, which is about targeting patterns, which I do talk about a lot on my channel. Project cards, factions and programs, planet cards, the breakaway colonies, role cards, training and skill sets that you might have, and solution cards with healing and guidance. But for me, the focus is on the resonance, okay? Oh, it's resetting my internet again. So yeah, so it's on the resonance. So in the mini guidebook, which is not in the box, it's available to download. But I'll be working on an expanded book that you can purchase separately. Some people might not be into the cards. They'd rather have the book and work with it that way. We're looking at the resonance check. So how do you know that this applies to you? So a random card might come out. How do you know that this applies to you? So there'll be tips and things in there so that you can do a resonance check. Does this apply to me? You can do a clarity check. What sense does this make, and that kind of thing. So this is what I'm working on for the last couple of months. I have had a collaborator actually, who is the John Whitberg. So we've worked on this together. So he's been an integral part of me developing this deck. So it is the Breakaway Oracle by Anchorhaven at breakawayoracle.com. Okay.
So I have an interesting question for you, because you had told me like you have a store in the US and a store in the UK. Do you have plans on making the deck available through the store in the US?
Well, the one in the US is the Galactech Firestore by Sonia. So it's at the moment it's t-shirts and mugs. It's that kind of store. I don't know if I'll be able to get these out into an American store right now. Because I'm doing a short order as well. It does make them a bit pricey. Whereas if you're going to put them in stores, then it would be like you've got to do like 1,000 order, to get them into wholesale rates and things like that.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know, maybe I just need to ship them over to somebody I know in Texas, and then that person can then ship them out to other people. It'd probably work out more expensive anyway to do that, to send them over to you. I don't know.
I was like, I love how this collaboration just took another turn.
Hey, it was your idea. So yeah, so at the moment there's only
True.
25 decks available anyway, and I have sold 6 already. So I think there's another couple that'll be going out to UK experiences, and I'll be taking a small amount to the conference with me, which is Bases, the 19th to the 21st of June with Miles Johnston. So I am appearing at Bases like I did last year. I may or may not get to do a talk. I'm not too sure. It depends if we can get the Americans over. So I'm preparing a backup talk, which is about the space programs. But I will be there. I will be representing UK Supersoldiers. I'll be doing some side podcasts like I did last time, and I'll be there to talk to people about the space programs and everything like I did last time. So yeah, so I am team basis. So I do the graphics, I do the program, I do consultation with Miles and try and keep him on track. And yeah, and he's not easy to work with at times. But he's very supportive of the work that we do. So yeah, so he is a very interesting chap.
So you're actually doing a conference, and then the very next weekend a conference.
Yeah, so we've got Gina's conference first, where I'll be doing the presentation online, and then the week after I'll be at Bases in person, and I may get an opportunity to present in person. But to be honest, if I don't have to, then I'm not going to, because it's platform work, and I generally do platform work about crystals and mystical wellness. Talking about the space program when Laura Eisenhower and people like that there, that's probably not for me right now. I'm still, relatively new to talking about these topics. I'm not an expert on these topics. I'm only just starting to bring out tools to help people remember who they are. So that's kind of my focus. Yeah.
You do realize you're talking to me, and I've talked to Laura, I've talked to Tony, Brad,
I know,
Alex,
you just did an amazing interview.
Emery, Smith, and so don't discount yourself.
I can't believe you're talking to Geraldine Orozco. Oh my god. Total fangirl crush on Geraldine Orozco. Oh my word. I can't imagine being in her presence. I was amazed when I saw she's on your channel. The lineup of people you've got on your channel is absolutely fantastic. I love the guests you have. So no, I'm honored to be here. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is don't discount yourself, because here, we're talking, we started out by saying how we're both on the same level, and that's how we're going to be doing this great collab.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and say, I can't have these people on my show because I'm not this. And I'm like,
oh, no.
I have them on, so why can't you have them on?
My podcast is a little breakaway debrief podcast. Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of I just try to make mine a friendly space for people to get together. And if people want to use my podcast as like a breakout show where they can build their confidence, then I'm really happy with that. Yeah, so yeah, I have kind of moved a lot into the super soldier stuff, which wasn't my original intention, but my whole work has just gravitated towards that way, and I've really found my place in it. And working
I just had a thought.
Great people in our community, yeah.
I just had a thought.
Well,
like I have
no.
channeling sessions, or the mediumship readings on my channel to kind of bring a little difference in. And you're saying, how your channel is now off onto this. What if you were to do, and I would come on, and I'm sure other people would love to come on, and we just do a show about disclosure movies, disclosure TV. Yeah. And it's just literally we just talk about TV shows or talk about movies.
I wanted to get you on with Aurora and Missy Hill. I think that would be so awesome. Like the 4 of us or whatever getting on with that would be so good. Was that 5 of us? No, it's 4 of us. That would be so good because they know their movies, they know their TV. I can't count.
I'm just laughing because you do that, because I've been known to go like this and be like, yeah, and I kind of do the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm very visual with some things in my mind. And other things not. A lot of the time it's just black in there. I get my third eye implant activated, and that projects a screen out, which is pretty awesome. That happens quite often now. But yeah.
I will say I was loving the fact that in the episode I did before this one, I brought up the movie They Live,
Oh
and
yes,
you
we
and
were all right on
Jessica
it.
were like, "They live," and I'm like,
Oh my
"Yes, I
god!
know you guys know
I'm
this."
gonna submit that to John Whitberg for review because They Live. I remember when I watched it, and I watched it with my brother here in the UK. My brother's 12 years older than me, and that's what we had in common was movies and Star Trek. He literally
Yeah.
raised me on that, right? So I remember watching that movie and just wow. But when you go onto YouTube now and put in They Live, it is absolutely still relevant. Every single piece of that movie is relevant right now. And when was it made? Like 30 years ago, but more than
Yeah, I
30
think
years ago.
it came out in
Um,
the '80s.
right. It's still
Roddy
relevant and it
Piper.
kicks ass. That fight
Yeah.
scene in the alleyway, oh my god, that kicks butt so bad. Yeah.
Well,
And
I still love the scene where he's like he's there, and then he goes like this, and he's like,
what are you
I'm
looking at,
like,
pal?
I totally can see everybody doing that.
Yeah, consume, consummate, to like eat, yeah, obey. Yeah, honestly, that's literally the world that we're living in right now, and people are starting to recognize it more. But even the
Yeah.
television, it's patented as a programming device, yeah, a mind control device. It's programs, it's channels, it's yeah.
But
Oh,
here's the
sick.
interesting thing, though, that
Mm,
brings an interesting aspect to it is we can be watching, like, say, for example, watching Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica in the
mm,
70s and 80s. And
yeah.
you're like, hey, this is a really cool space show.
Mm,
Fast forward, we'll say 20 years, and you're now and like aware of disclosure and everything. You start to
mm,
watch it, and you're like, wait a minute, this is all disclosure. What? And
yeah.
it's like you realize everything
Mm,
you've watched has been
mm,
disclosure all
yeah.
this time, but you
Yeah.
never saw it for it until you wake
But
up
you
and
longed
you
for it though.
see it
I longed to
and
be
you
on the
can't
Enterprise. Yeah.
unsee it.
Yeah, but I talk about John Whitberg a lot because I love his work. And when he did the review on the Forbidden Planet from the 1950s, there's
Oh
future
yeah.
technology used in that freaking movie. So they really thought by 1960s we'd all be living in the future because they brought technology that's used off planet into the movie. So he did a great review on that. So please go check that out, guys, at the John Whitberg. So
Yeah.
here's so that USAPs in cinema, so that's unacknowledged special access programs in cinema, how they're working in this disclosure, they're working in technology, even the uniforms or what, it's all there. It's all
Well,
right there in front of you. Yeah.
and what was funny is I was doing a channeling session with Starseed Lolo,
Mm,
and we were talking to the ant people, and I said to him, you know, I remember seeing like Johnny Quest from the 1960s and Herculoids, I think is 60s, 70s, 80s maybe, but they're considered old cartoons.
mm,
And people would be in there. Mole people would be in there. And
right.
I was like, did you guys like do this, to bring awareness to you guys? And they were like, no, but it is somehow they found out about us, and so we're
Mm,
okay with it's being public,
yeah.
but it was accidental disclosure, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
I
I was
I
like,
did
but it's so weird when you go and you look at something from the 60s and are like,
yeah.
this is a culture that we're just now starting to say exists,
Yeah.
and we're in 2026. This was
Yeah.
1960s they
So
were
yeah,
aware of, and it's
it's
like,
insane. But you have
what?
to remember that we've been in space a lot longer than people realize.
Oh
Those
yeah.
breakaway colonies, it's called the Breakaway Oracle because we're getting into breakaway colonies. There's trillions of humans in space, trillions. Okay, from breakaway Germans, breakaway Japanese, Solarians, humans in space. So it's mad. So I did a video with Starseed Lolo, and it was quite interesting when she channeled the Zeta Greys. So yeah, I do have Zeta DNA. I do have like Draconian DNA, things like that, along with Octurian and whatever. But she channeled the Zetas, and the whole time, every answer to every question was, "It's the hybridization program." Why would you not want to do it? It's the hybridization program. So they just wanted to hybridize with us. That's all they wanted. It was so bizarre. Like every single question, but why wouldn't you want it? It's hybridization program. So the answer
Yeah.
to that is the hybridization program. And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my God, how do I do this interview? But Miss ET literally just wants to merge with us because they believe you are us. Hybridization program. That's it. That's all they kept saying to me. Yeah, it's all about hybrids, all about hybrids. It was really bizarre, but it's a great interview because she also channels the Ra Venusian collective, and another aspect of me is called Alane Ra. So I knew I did have Ra descent, right? And I knew I had aspects of me on Venus. I did not realize they were the same thing, right? So that was really interesting. And because there's another person that I'm connected to who's also Ra Venusian collective, and I only found that out after I had that channeling, and I was just like, whoa, that's insane. So we're literally from some kind of lineage of these, these sun gods of Venus or whatever, they want to call themselves. I don't know. I thought that was amazing. So she's very good. Yeah, I can't wait to get her back on at some point. Yeah. Yeah, no, this has been so good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is, we sit there and we're like, oh, we can, point out to people this and that and all day long, but in reality, everybody can do it. It's just we're more aware because of how much we've been exposed to and learned already that we can help other people to see it. Like, we point out, watching shows that we are like, yeah, this is great for disclosure. Well, chances are you've seen the show, but like we said, you didn't know what you were seeing. So how would you see the disclosure? But until when someone points it out, you can't unsee it. Like an example is
you
we
need
have
to rewatch everything now. Once you start to get your memories, you've got to go back and rewatch everything, and you'll start to see it all over again.
right.
Yeah.
An example of something like that, in simple life terms, is FedEx is a shipping company we have in America. Well, in their logo is an arrow that points to the right.
Okay.
But if you're not aware of hidden symbolism, you would never see the arrow. But once you see that arrow, you start looking at every sign and going, wait a minute, I now see this. Oh, I now see that.
Well, it's like Amazon. It's got an arrow pointing from the A to the Z.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, and I didn't know that for the longest time. And then I saw it and I was like, okay, I get it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Actually, you're half right about that.
It's A to the N?
It's actually not supposed to be an arrow.
What's it meant to be?
It's a smiling face because you're supposed to be happy from your order process.
Here it was like an arrow.
From A to Z. You're supposed to be happy you ordered from Amazon from beginning to the end. So they put it from the A to the it ends with M, but the idea is you're supposed to be happy, so it creates a smile. So you're like happy with your purchase.
Yeah. One of the things I want to just mention before we finish is that, so a lot of the people I know, like for SSP friends and mentors that I work with, is that they've had memories, either their memories were always there and they never got mind wiped, so they've had years working with the memories, or memories have started to come in over a long period of time. But that didn't happen for me. So I had random memories, but then I got context, and then more and more and more started to come in. And one of my friends said to me, it's unfair in a way. You've only had this short period of time to deal with all of this information, right? So there's a quickening that's happening, is what I'm trying to say. People are waking up faster now. There is a quickening of energy, a bit like in, where the quickening comes from. There can be only one, the Highlander. So, but people are downloading faster now. They're remembering faster. But finding the context still takes time. So I started to get space memories coming in 5 years ago when I was working with a quantum healer here in the UK. Sorry, it's noisy here. And but then he'd say things to me like, "Oh, I see you on this ship, and you're stealing the ship, you're killing everybody." And I'd be like, "But why? Why?" And he didn't have the answer. And then, of course, now I know what the answer is. I'm fucking Kruger, right? And I'm going out and I'm like probably pillaging or I don't know what. And so that makes sense now. I've got some context. So things have started to fall in line. But yeah, people like me, the last year has been very rapid. And the reason it's been so rapid is, yes, it's coming in, but I've also committed to doing daily meditation. Okay. Daily meditation. For me, it's got longer and longer, but it doesn't have to be. It can be short periods of meditation set with intention to try and get yourself into that 0 point so you can access a memory mine, I call it, or get into your Akashic records. So I actually teach Akashic record work on my Saturday groups. I work with a particular card deck, which is called the Akashic Oracle. You can see this, which is by Marina Beach, the Soul Alchemist. So I work with that deck, which gives me a lot of energies. It could be guilt that's coming up, or lack and scarcity, self-worth and deservability, whatever. But this gives me kind of a visual representation to see what energies are impacting your life. So what I do in my Saturday groups is I then take you into a channel journey. So I channel a journey to guide you into the Akashic records, right? So I give you the tools so that you can see how easy it is to get into your Akashic records. So, we portal into that space in a relaxed meditation, fully protected, surrounded by guide team. We walk down a hallway, we see the doorway to your Akashic records, we do a resonance check on that, and then we enter, and I give you specific visuals so that you know it's your Akashic records. We connect with your Akashic record keeper guide, and we're there with an intention. Never enter without an intention, or you will get lost. Right? So we go in with a specific intention, and your guide will know that and take you to the direct door or whatever it is. So I have windows down one side, doors down the other, a table in the center with the present lifetime book on. And this is how I've been trained. But when I step into my Akashic record library, it looks like the library from the school in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Right? That's what mine looks like. But everyone's is different, but that's how mine looks.
I'm just
nuts,
laughing
right?
at all the designs you pick. You pick Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Well, what library would you pick?
I'd be like Library of
so the
Alexandria
specific doors.
or
Well, you
Hall
can
of
access that
Record
through the
Library.
doors. You can access anything you want through the doors. So the other
Right.
day, last Saturday, we accessed Lemuria. So I guided them to a door that has symbols on from Lemuria, Lemurian writing, so that they would recognize what that looked like. And we accessed and we went to Lemuria, and we did a meditation down by the waters, connecting into elemental energies, meeting a Lemurian guide, and picking up specific crystals, which were Andara crystals from Lemuria. And everybody received an activation. Everybody got a palm chakra upgrade. Everybody got something to take home, like a gift or an amulet or something. So these are powerful activations that we do. So this is my Saturday work. So it's at 8 o'clock UK time. So anybody who's on my Patreon or subscribe to on my Substack with the little paid memberships, you get access to these evening groups. But working the Akashic records, this has given me the skills to do deeper meditation or to do focused meditation, because once you get the idea of what you're doing, it can be 15 minutes, but inside it's timeless. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
so it can be short, but now I do longer and longer meditations to the point that I actually stop breathing, and then my being has to say, "Oh, your body stopped breathing," and then I'm like, "Oh, okay, I better come back." So I get so deep now. So and once you realize that the Akashic records is not just about you, you've got a shared Akashic record with everything. You and your pet, you and your business, you and your vehicle, you and your home. Everything has a shared Akashic record with you. So like when I look into me and my super soldier sibling, we have a shared Akashic record, and I'm able to pull memories from there as well, or to visit missions that we've done in the past. So that's still something I'm working on. But after we met in December, I had this amazing, it was very grand, doors opening to our shared Akashic records, and we both stepped through like it was a portal. And then I looked and he's there beside me, but we were in Italy. So it was like, wow, we just portaled into Italy. And then when I mentioned it on a podcast, he was in the chat, and he's got the tattoo of that location right there. And you can't get a better verification than that we've just portaled into the exact location that somebody's got tattooed on their body that I had no idea about. It's like, because he never took his jacket off the whole time he was here. So yeah, so it's insane. So I do Akashic record work, which is deep meditation, which is very healing, and memory retrieval. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you mentioned, people are learning faster now. Part of that I contribute to when we were growing up, 80s, 90s, 2000s. This was not, something talked about. You could not find anything about this. It was like, nope. It was like if you stumbled on it, you had to stumble on it by accident, as they would say. But today, there's like maybe around 100 podcasts about the secret space program. There's website, or Facebook groups designed to it. And so everybody is nowadays has a little bit more access to other people going through it, their experiences, their stories, and more information than we did. And so that, to me, is a small part of why this generation is growing faster in knowledge than we are, is because they're coming on our shoulders of, hey, we share what we can when we can.
Yeah.
They're benefiting from it. And at the same time, we're benefiting from them watching our stuff. And I know that sounds strange to say, but that's how the time works.
It's a partnership. I totally agree. Because for me, none of this was in my awareness for the longest time. And so even to the point of probably till I was about 22, I was allowed to get into a little bit of conspiracy with the X-Files. But then once I started traveling, none of that was in my awareness ever again. Until I started to live in India, then I started to go back kind of into spiritual practices. But we're talking, like 20 odd years ago, you'd go into you go to a bookshop and there'd be a spiritual section that's really tiny. Right, there wouldn't be spiritual books. There'd be hardly anything, right? And so there definitely wouldn't be anything like this. Or if there was, it would be like with random things, And so for a long time, this was not in my awareness, and I do believe that was targeting, but I also believe it was my guides protecting me from doing this work. Because once you start, it's hard to stop, right? And but UK, not many people have this kind of awareness. I don't bump into UK Supersoldiers very often. I did meet a couple at bases, and there was one that I met at bases in December, and I knew him, and he knew me. And I knew him from South Africa, from a Kruger mercenary mission in South Africa. And up until that point, I did not think that applied to me at all. And I got a vision of us both as mercenaries on a Jeep and in a briefing in South Africa. I've never been to South Africa, so that was blowing my brain. And he'd come up to me and just say, I'd be talking to like visitors, and I said, they'd ask a question about Mars, so I just tell them what I know, and he'd walk up to me and say, yeah, I remember you from Mars, and he'd just walk away, and I'm like, what? So it's so random. So yeah, so UK people are not as open to talk about this kind of stuff as they are in America, right? And I only found all of this because of the Typical Skeptic podcast. And I found Rob because I was doing some training with Indigo Angel at the time to do the J Steel removals. This is a few years back now. So I did her J Steel removal course, I did her gridwork facilitator course, did her divine feminine course and things like that. So that's how I found Rob, because Indigo Angel was on his podcast. And then I started to watch, and then I kind of got into it. And now I'm a moderator, and I love it over there. It's like my second home. But when I look into Australia, where I did live out there for a year, it's the start of my travels, Australia super soldiers are very few and far between because it is dangerous to talk about this stuff out there. They don't have conferences the way we do in the UK and America. And, you know, Chloe Ariel, Soul Sessions, she talks about the level of targeting she gets. And it's literally men in black walking up to her, like following her, like in the car, stopping at the roadside and stopping in cafes and directly coming to her face and saying, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" Hey?
Yeah.
Same
Oh,
in
because you're
Oz, yeah.
talking about Australia.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
There's a
yeah. So we're talking
comment
about
about
Asset
Australia.
Island. Yeah. So Asset Island. Well, if you've not watched the Drago Reed interview, that's on my channel. It's on Rob Khalil's channel as well. Typical Skeptic. So I had a stay at Kangaroo Island on my travel in Australia. So I flew into Brisbane. I did the that side of the coast. Then I flew over to Perth. And I worked there for a bit, and I got a camper van, and I did the Nullarbor Trail. So you go all the way across to South Australia, and I was obsessed with Kangaroo Island. I just didn't know why, but I really wanted to stay there. So me and my Aussie boyfriend were going to stay there for about 3 weeks is what we planned, because I've been talking about it for weeks. When we got there, we stayed for 5 to 7 days. I can't remember now, but it was a maximum of a week because I had to get off the island. I had to get off the island, right? And now I find out that one, Vicky, who comes in the chat, she actually grew up on Kangaroo Island. So she saw my Sacred Sites video with John Whitberg, where I dotted so many places in Australia where I believe I'd been abducted. And she started to remember an experience that she had as a child on Kangaroo Island, right? So red flag there. And then, then you've got Rachel, who's from Tasmania, I think. And so we were starting to talk about it. So when Vicky asked the question about Kangaroo Island on the Drago Reed show, he said, "Oh, Kangaroo Island. You know what the name for that is? Asset Island. The entire island is a base. Every family is an asset." Right, so no wonder why I couldn't wait to get off it, because I had abductions galore. So they cloned me basically while I was there. So yeah, so I'm all over Australia. You'll see me everywhere, right? I'm all over the world. I really am. And now that you know that I'm a clone template, just like Drago Reed, you'll start to see us everywhere. It's like somebody I went to the conference with in December. She then went to Wales and sent me a text saying, "You're sitting in this cafe." And then so another lady, a friend that I've got here, she went to another town and she said, "You're in this pharmacy." This is so bizarre. Like, I was working in a shop, right? So yeah, so I've physically seen a clone of me in France. So they're out there. Now that you become aware of that, yeah, they're all different ages, all different heights, but they're still me. They still got my soul essence. From time to time, I tune into their energies. So yeah, Australia is quite a dangerous place, and most of it's because of I did a video on this, guys. Did a video on Australia because I'm looking into the global monarch programs, and I'm looking into the Commonwealth tie-up. So all the Commonwealth countries, I was literally transferred across all of them as an asset. That's what I realized on my travels. So when you start to look into that, it's part of a larger global monarch program. And in Australia, it's about the like the agricultural programs, everything. It's all really super dodgy. Yeah, all MK Ultra, mind control, asset creation over there in Australia. So yes, so there's probably a lot of Australian assets who are going to start to come forward now. Just like in Canada, tons of Canadian assets are coming forward right now, aren't they? We know a lot of Canadian super soldiers already. Yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it there.
And
I get excited about clones.
I actually have an interesting thought to leave people with. Like you're talking about having aspects everywhere. We all have aspects everywhere. Here's an interesting thought that I'm not saying it's true or not true. I'm just, hypothetically just throwing it out there because, like Rachel's saying, we've all already met them. It's like maybe, but could an alter aspect of you be in a relationship with an alter aspect of me?
Possibly,
and how weird would that be?
I could be living in Texas with you, another version of you on the other side of Texas, because Texas is so big. We might have 3 kids and 2 dogs. Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
And then you integrate it. It's like, how awkward would that moment be? Going, wait a minute.
Date. What if you went on a double date and it was another version of you? as that, like, that's weird, right? Yeah, I don't know. I've not thought about that before. Yeah, that's interesting.
Here's one that's even more weird is, what if you went on a date with your alter?
Yes. What if I turn up on a blind date and it's literally like a clone of my dad, right? My sibling, or some, because the male version of me is basically Drago Reed, and I'm basically the female version of him, right? That's the weird thing about it. We literally are. When you see us sitting side by side, you see that. So yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Well, and
I don't like that.
we're assuming all our alters are the same gender. We could have female genders, and so.
Kat is saying, well, Anchorhaven has been practicing her Texas accent. I sure have. So, what was known ages ago as a doppelganger? Yeah. So when I did the Miles radio show 2 weeks ago, and I said doppelganger, he interrupted me very abruptly to talk about clones.
Yeah.
So yeah, so people know doppelgangers, don't they? But when you talk about clones, you're crazy, right?
I was 10 minutes from running into my doppelganger. Literally.
Wow. That's insane.
I went into a store and everybody says to me that's working there, "Oh, you're back?" And I was like, "Back? I just got here." And they're like, You weren't here like 10 minutes ago? And I was like, no. Yeah. And they're like, well, then your doppelganger just left. And I was like, man, that's pretty close. And
yeah,
I didn't think they would ever allow our clones to be operating like in neighboring cities, because the odds of running into each other would be.
Somebody in my chat earlier today or whenever it was, and they were literally saying that there's loads of clones of them in the same town. So I'm saying that, and I said, well, just the resonance on that would be really disturbing, because when you come in close proximity to another piece of your soul, you feel it, and it's awful. It's uncomfortable. I felt it. It makes you feel sick. I was just thinking about something. Yeah, if you want to know what other versions of me look like, then watch the TV show Orphan Black. So I've literally had all of those hairstyles. I'm not joking. I have. The whole thing is mirrored on me and Drago Reed in the Kruger cloning programs. So you see, I've even had dreadlocks. I've had my hair all of those styles, all of those colors. It's like, it's freaky. That's why I literally said, I think this is based on me. Jessica Morocco was like, yeah, I think so it is. And we checked the files. Yeah, it's based on you. So yes, so it's literally, so I'm the female character, and then Drago is like the male version, like the soldier version, Castor. Yeah. It's based on our archetypes. So it's based on our energy and our experiences. Yeah. So it's messed up, guys. Messed up. Anyway.
And with that fun note.
This has been great. Thank you so much. My website has now kind of transitioned over to my Patreon, because I couldn't afford to keep my website going, and I wanted to set up my Breakaway website. So anchorhaven.co.uk now goes directly to my Patreon, and you can be a free member over there. I've got loads of free resources, but I do have an online energy shop as well. So you can like download affordable Reiki upgrades and, you know, little courses that you can do by yourself, and I'll send attunements over. I've also got bits of my podcaster on there, and I've got expanded bios for my guests and things like that on my Patreon.
Did I get it right?
Compass. Hey?
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
On the screen? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. So my Inner Compass series, that's my debrief series. So there's information on there. So if you believe you're being targeted, if you believe you're a targeted individual, an empowered individual, there's information there. But I have done a few videos with Miles Johnston, so do check out those videos. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I just put your web address on and you have it as your name tag.
Yeah, it's my name.
I was like,
I thought,
oh, I'm being nice and putting your website up so people can get to it. And then I look and I'm like,
but it's fine.
It's been up the whole time.
With the actual kind of the full web address, and they'd be able to click it. But because you've not put the beginning on, they can't click it. See, moderator tips.
Well,
yeah,
I don't put links in the chat because
you're the only one who can.
When you close, the chat disappears.
It doesn't disappear. It takes time to process, and then it comes back available after a few hours. Yeah.
I have
Mm.
never seen, and I went back and looked at a few things. I have never
Yeah.
seen the chat.
Oh, it might be a setting that you've got on there, but chats generally just take a few hours to process, and then it'll be available for people to watch back the video with the live chat at the side. Yeah. But it takes a few hours to process. It's not instant. It doesn't always work for me when I'm in vertical mode on my morning lives. So I'm live pretty much 5 days a week for just our general community wellness check-in, talking about random topics and pulling cards. And I do that most days, like weekdays between 12 and 1 o'clock Eastern. I start that and I keep going for a few hours. So that's my 5 a.m. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to do that, guys, right? Because I love you. So I'm like, oh, good morning. I wash my face and brush my teeth, and I don't brush my hair, so I'm like, oh, good morning, everybody.
I love that little
So,
30-second guilt trip that you threw out there. Love you
well,
guys.
I will keep showing up if everyone keeps showing up for me. So there you go. I'll keep dragging myself out of bed at 5 a.m. So no, it's a lot of fun. We have tons of fun in our morning lives. They're really, really funny. Yeah. And I read out everything I see in the chat. So you have to be careful what you put in there. And if you don't want it read out, you have to put do not read this out. Otherwise, I will literally read out the worst things ever. I'm terrible. Because I have to read everything I see. That's part of my autism in a way. I literally, if I look at the chat, I have to read the chat constantly. That's why I'm trying not to look at the chat too much today. So yeah, the US crowd stays up late so that they can do my early morning live. So it's like after midnight for them, and it's 5 a.m. for me. Yeah. So and but we get some
I've done it
Aussies,
with
and it's like
you.
evening for the Aussies. Yeah, but it's the
Yeah,
next day for the Aussies. It's really weird. Anyway.
yeah. I've done your wee hour in the morning chat. And
In the wee hours. You know why it's in the wee hours? Do you want to know why? Because Robert Typical Skeptic was doing 4 shows a day, and it's the
yeah,
only time I could get on my channel, right? Because it was always clashing with something that he was running, and I'd want to moderate, or like half my guys are his guys. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, so then I managed to find this little sweet spot at 5 a.m. my time, midnight Eastern, or just after, and you know, and it started to work. And we've been doing it for a while now, and we love it. Yeah.
yeah. And we even,
Yeah.
just for being funny, one day the first time you were on my show, and then we signed off, and then a couple hours later I was on your show.
Yeah, we had like a 36-hour like just going around on each other's shows. That was so funny. You know what's bad though, because you've got that intro, I have to cut it out of the recording or I get copyright strikes. So this one, when I pull it off the internet, I have to cut the start and the end off because you intro and outro. Oh, I was fuming.
Well, okay, yeah. So I get copyright, but I don't get, it doesn't strike my channel. They just
you shouldn't
say,
be getting copyrights for something that you've created.
oh,
Unless
it's
you've
not
used
my
music
song.
that YouTube doesn't like. Oh, it's not your song, okay.
It's
Yeah.
not my song, but I have given YouTube the license and they keep flagging it, so I just stopped giving them the license.
Well, I got flagged and then I had to figure out, okay, how do I chop this off and all that. But it was the same with Sean Bond at Sonic League, because I do quite a bit over there, and I have to completely cut out his intro and outro, so I have to do the same over there or I get flagged. Yeah.
So this is what I get, is I'm looking at it now, is I get copyright and it says copyright protected content found, but the owner allows it, so it's okay. I don't get
okay,
dinged,
no, I don't get that. I get like
but,
you need to change that or you're gonna not be able to be monetized. That's what I get. And I've only just started to get a little bit of monetization, so I can get super chats now. I can get super thanks, super stickers, and that kind of thing. I think I made like 30 cents off videos. So yeah.
I have a couple of times. I'll put a song on a ad that I was doing, and they would say, "Oh, this ad is not available. This music's not available in other countries," and I'm like,
that
so they
happened to
don't
me
get the music.
recently.
I don't care.
I did. I did a promo reel that was so crack-a-lacking. I absolutely loved it. And I made it on InShot. It was so good. The music was
Crack-a-lacking.
thumping, right? And I put it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, fine. Put it on YouTube, flag straight away. And then I had to change the music. And then it was like crack-a-runkin'. It wasn't as good. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
So
I did an episode where I was celebrating Texas Independence Day.
Yeah.
And I had all this Texas music on it, and they were like, "Oh well, this one song is being flagged on YouTube, and you need to change it." And I was like, "Okay." So I went to change it, and they're like, "No songs about Texas." I was like, "Well, this is kind of defeating the purpose."
So I'm just going to comment on what Rachel's put there, that this one was advertised, but mine on my channel are not. And that's because I don't use StreamYard. Yeah, so I can't use StreamYard because you see what happens every 15 minutes, my internet gets messed with, even as a guest. So when I try and host on StreamYard, it blocks my router. And the handlers hack my StreamYard. StreamYard is not very safe. And so I've stopped using StreamYard and I just go directly from my phone. And when I have a guest on, I use Zoom. So you don't get the links beforehand like you do with StreamYard. That's why. Right. So, but generally, Monday to Friday or Saturday, I am live. Which would be between 5 and 6 a.m. I'm generally live Monday to Saturday morning. And Sunday, I do have a rest on a Sunday. But I've got quite a few podcasts coming up this week. I've still got another 3 podcasts to do this week, I think. And I've got a couple next week, but I'm going to ease off for a week or so. Because I'm preparing presentations for conferences and I'm finishing off the guidebook and everything for the Breakaway Oracle deck, which is the breakawayoracle.com. And so that's why my stuff isn't advertised, but I do put regular posts out. And if you join my Patreon, I'll try and put a schedule out. But most mornings I do, unless I've done something quite late, like this one is 2:30 a.m. I'm not going to be live in 4 hours, probably not, but I might do an afternoon, or we'll see how I feel. So when it depends on, because this is a late one for me. We started at midnight. So so this is quite late one. Thank you for that in the chat. And so but generally I come on as much as I can because I've got nothing else to do and this is what I love to do. So there you go. How does it get any better than that?
And I'm loving the fact that I put the www in front of it and it's not a hyperlink.
No, you have to put the HTTPS.
Oh, you didn't tell me that part.
Well, I don't even think I've got www on my else. I don't think so. I don't know. But so Breakaway it's breakawayoracle.com. Breakaway Oracle.
Oh, I did it right the first time.
Yeah. So the breakawayoracle.com is for the card deck where you can pre-order a deck of cards and you'll be able to access the guidebook that goes with that and the meditations that go with that. By mid-June it'll start be ready. So I'm still working on that. There you go. That's perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we're finishing up now. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate everybody joining us in the chat. Sorry, this is your podcast.
I know. I'm laughing at the fact that
you get two together.
We say router and you say router because to us a router is something you put into a pipe to clear the pipe.
Okay, well this is a router. A router is a machine, right? That routes. Yeah.
That's the funny thing about our language. I love.
Oh, I was watching a podcast earlier and they kept saying niche. It's a niche market, and that really annoys me because it's niche.
It is
it's a niche market, right?
And
this guy kept saying niche, and I'm thinking, is that an American thing? Because I really hate it. Because these are a niche deck, so there's only 25 of these that are getting made. So because it's a niche market, right? So so it's a special edition. But niche,
we
that
say
really
niche.
Me. Yeah, niche. Thank you. I'm very Americanized with a lot of my words anyway, because I grew up watching Cheers and Roseanne. So that's how I was raised, watching Cheers and Roseanne, right? That's why I'm very sarcastic at times and I'm a bit of a, bit negative at times because of Cheers and Roseanne, right? That's the excuse. Okay, definitely niche, says Kat. Thank you, Kat. Kat's got such a beautiful accent. Terry can't wait to get hers. So excited. Yes. So they went off to the printers today. Hopefully I'll get them in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll be able to ship them out to you guys. So yeah, so thank you to everyone who's pre-ordered, and you're helping me cover the print costs. So I really appreciate that, because it's not cheap when you do your own small order for Oracle cards. It really isn't. Just when I did, I ordered a sample, but they actually sent me 2. That cost me $65 to order a sample. Okay, so to give you an idea, it's not easy, but you know, it's our very first thing. It's the very first thing I've ever finished and have published, so I'm quite proud of myself. So thank you everybody for supporting the process. Yeah.
So just so you know, you made your first US sale.
Oh wow, thank you.
It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I'm stuck. I think my video's glitching again. Yeah, we're on the 15-minute mark. My video's glitching. Every 15 minutes, my video's glitching. This is what happens. I get targeted on StreamYard. Yeah. So that's really cool. Thank you so much for purchasing my Oracle deck.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's on my end. I get a lot of targeting over here. I'm okay on Zoom generally because it's got extra encryption. Yeah. But
no,
it's just
Terry.
Yeah, there we go.
Says, "Hey, I'm in the US, so
yeah, I have sold 6 to the US already. So you're my 7th US sale, and I've got 2 UK sales which will be going through at the end of the month as well. Yeah, Kat's got them as well. Yeah, so it's going to be really cool. So thank you guys for supporting my little dream, and you've got a piece of Anchorhaven history coming your way in the next few weeks, hopefully. And so it's really cool. I honestly, I'm not sure if they're going to make any sense to anybody at all, but I'm going to do as much as I can to make them work, right? To make them really helpful. And hopefully people will find them energetic and beneficial. So yeah.
Just know I'll be calling you every card I look at going, what in the world is this? No.
Honestly, they're very clear. The cards are very clear, and there'll be quite a bit of information. So there'll be a mini guidebook, but there's also an extended version available as well. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. And I've been working with John Whitberg on some of these things. Yeah, so a lot of the so some things have come directly from John Whitberg, and then I've expanded into it with psionics and things. So yeah, so it should be interesting.
So I actually jumped the gun and ordered too soon. I could have got the extended version.
Well, it's the book that's going to come out separately. That's the extended version. So that'll go onto Amazon eventually when I finish that. But to go with this one, there'll be a PDF that you can download, which is like a mini guidebook. And then there'll be other accessories that you can download as well, which would be like charts and things like that. Yeah, for divination and alchemy. So why are you
laughing? No, I'm laughing because I'm picturing it's going to be like most apps where, now that you bought the deck, it's $5 for this, $5 for that, $3 for this.
No, you'll get plenty. You'll get a lot of bonuses with the deck, right? Yeah. So I'm not that bad. Come on, I tried to make everything as affordable as I possibly can. That's why I was laughing.
I knew it wouldn't be you, but I was laughing at you. Totally could be doing that if you're not.
If it takes off, this is the first edition. If it takes off, the second edition might be $300, and it might be gold plated or something. I don't know. It's funny because I work with this one. This cost me probably about $60 to $70 for this deck. And when I got the Misha Johnston Experiencer cards, the cost of the cards were about $30, and the cost of shipping was like $30, right? So to get things over from like the US, UK, vice versa, it's quite pricey. So yeah, so it's tricky. But they're pretty good. So I still work with them all the time, and I'll probably merge the 2 decks, to be honest. But wait, there's more steak knives. I don't get that, but that sounds funny. I'm very literal. Yes.
There's more steak knives.
Yeah. So we're finishing up now, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a really good, fun show. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I will put this on my channel when I get the recording tomorrow. And I will put that on my videos. those bloody conversion charges. Yeah, it's not easy. I've not even charged for like packaging or anything like that. So, you know, trying to keep it as affordable as I can. Unfortunately, people who are like in Australia, I think that'll probably work out more, but I'll cover the cost on that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I just want to get it out there, this first one, and then we'll see if it's any good. And then maybe I'll do a second edition, which will have some different things in that you could put into both decks, merge them together. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So it is 2:35 a.m. here in the United Kingdom. I'm Anchorhaven. Thank you so much, Michael Kopf.
I was trying to get accommodated for the last second because we were making it sound like the sales pitch, but the end you get. So I was going to leave you with this
for a limited time only.
Heading for.
Well, it's actually very, very affordable because it's only £22 the deck, and then you've got the shipping. So I've really tried to make it as affordable as I can, and you're getting bonus pendulum class, pendulum charts. You're getting like so much bonus to go with it. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. Bonus
it's
meditation.
Yeah. For
Terry saying $9.99. Terry saying, and unfortunately, it's not $9.99 because it costs me $9.99 to print it. Yeah, it costs quite a lot. Yeah.
I always laugh at when you watch TV and you see the commercials that says, for limited time, if you order in the next 30 seconds, you can get it this price. And it's like, you want to wait and go, how does it know when the 30 seconds is?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I might suddenly think, oh, I haven't got enough money to cover all the shipping, so then the final 10 might jump up to $60 or something. You never know. So buy it now, guys. Buy it right now while it's reasonable. Maybe a Texas deck in the future. If that's for you. A deck about Texas. A deck about the different military bases in Texas. I'm calling Texas Super Soldier Central because I know more super soldiers in Texas than any other state. I really do.
We're a huge military base, so yeah. And we're a UFO hotspot state.
Yeah.
And we are large enough that we can put, I think, 5 UKs in Texas and have land left over.
Yeah, it always amazes me how far it is to get from, like, say, where you are to the airport or whatever. And it's like, that's like me traveling to London, right? That's a long way.
It takes me an hour to an hour and a half to get to the airport.
Yeah. Gosh, that's not too bad. So Rachel's saying a portal deck. The next deck I design after this one is actually a mystical wellness deck, and I have 4 different versions already that I was working on last year, but I just didn't have the motivation to get things finished. This one I've only been able to get this finished because I've had a collaborator to help me, so that's kept me a bit focused. And because I have terrible ADHD, and I've got demand avoidance, pathological demand avoidance. You can say, this needs to be done right now. And I'll go, sorry, I need to go for a nap. Right? And that's it. And I'm gone, So, yeah, so I am working on more card decks. But the next one is either going to be mystical wellness or it's going to be some kind of quest. It's a quest. Yeah, a journey of some kind. So I'm excited. What are you typing now?
You'll see.
Elemental decks, including Avatar States. It said next deck available for the next 10 seconds. Yeah. Honestly, this one already is an elemental deck. So there's parts in this that are elemental.
Oh, no. Yeah, so I was meaning like. No, I was meaning a deck for fire, a deck for earth, a deck for water.
Maybe. Well, in this, there is a card that's for earth, air, fire, water, and storm.
Yeah, right? But I mean the entire deck. Yeah. It's like. The Avatar movie. I was thinking the Avatar movie. Each nation having a deck.
Okay, let's not put all our ideas out there on the recording. Let's keep them private, right? Right, honestly, make your moves in silence. Yeah. Because you never know who's watching. I get terrible targeting from other podcasters in the community. And this has been going on since January. And it's not even directly at me, it's at somebody else. Do you know what I mean? So Drake and I touched on that on the video the other day. It's still actively going on. I'm still being surveilled constantly, bombarded with energy, and it's nothing to do with me even. So yeah.
And
Hey,
this has now officially become my longest episode
has it?
in 4 years. This is my longest episode.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so we're gonna finish up now because it's 2:40 a.m. And so thank you so much for joining us. And Michael is gonna press.
I love how you're doing an Irish goodbye, and I'm like, I'm
What's
just
an Irish
waiting.
goodbye?
An Irish goodbye, so that is where you say goodbye, and then you continue your conversation, and then you say goodbye, and you continue your conversation, and you say goodbye.
Yeah,
and it's like 5 later, it's like, finally, it's really the goodbye.
Okay, this is the final kiss goodnight. Right? The long kiss goodnight. There you go. Movie references for you. Okay.
All right, well, thank you all for joining us, and thank you for going on this day of disclosure journey with me. And I cannot believe going on almost 2 3/4 hours with you after doing an hour and a half, almost 2 hours before.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that.
Yeah.
2 big shows back to back, and I just.
Cats put Marathon Haven.
I do have a friend that.
This is the Marathon Haven, yeah.
Yeah, no joke, but I do have a friend that he every once in a while will do 24 hours straight where he gets moderators to help host, and he will do guests every 2 hours. And
we should do that. Yeah, I think Rob was going to do that at one point. He was going to have a really, really long. The most we ever did was 5 hours, and it was a Halloween show. It was an absolute shit show. It was just insane. It was fighting. There was drama. It was so bad. And then Rob was falling asleep, and I was on camera, and I was like ending it like I'm doing now. I was literally, okay, would you like to tell everyone how they can find you? And the guests were like, oh. So I was just like, yeah. So that was 5 hours, maybe more than 5 hours. Whoa, it was bad. Yeah, because there was drama. Yeah, there was fighting.
The longest I've been online is 7 hours, because I was doing a live investigation of a battleship, and so it was like we were doing a TV show as I was sitting here in my house watching them prepare, and then they were given their instructions, and then they would go off and investigate. And I finally ended up saying goodnight, and when I looked at the time for the recording, it was like 7 hours. I was like,
wow.
Oh my God, how did I sit in a chair for 7 hours?
The longest I did was the Gina Virginia Casella conference, moderating for what felt like 10 hours. Was it 10 hours? And I'm sitting there in the chair, just surrounded by snacks, because I'm here like all day. Like, it was long. It was like I felt like 8:30 a.m. to about 6 p.m. my time. So it was a full on. No, it was like 10 p.m. my time when we finished.
I think it was 9. Yeah, I think it was 9 or 10 hours long.
Yeah, it was a real. So we've got the next one coming up on the 13th of June. It's going to be a marathon. Yeah,
I know. You and I are switching roles. I'll be in the moderation seat while you're talking.
I'm going to do the talking. Yeah, but only for 35 minutes.
And
that's it.
Just to help you out, I will mute your mic every 15 minutes. So you have the glitch.
See, it doesn't happen in the day. It only happens in the early hours. It's probably my neighbor downstairs.
Could you imagine Gina's face, though? If I was like, mute, unmute, mute, unmute. She'd be like, "What is going on? How are you the only one that and be like,
Yeah.
you didn't even watch the
Oh.
end of the episode, did you? Because we totally talked about that."
Oh my word. Okay, I'm
All
going now. Um,
right. Well,
but
thank
thank
you
you
all
so
for
much.
watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along both Anchorhaven's page, her YouTube channel, my YouTube channels, because you never know when we're gonna collaborate and be on each other's shows. And you just threw me off. I was like, "Oh wait, we got a comment in the room, and it's you."
It's me saying goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching.
All
We
right,
hope
so
you enjoyed this collaboration. Yeah.
yes. And if you want more of us hanging out together, just comment to Anchorhaven and say, "When are you bringing Michael back?"
Okay.
And with that, good night, everyone. Okay, where's that button? There it is. All right, we're reals. Good night, everyone.